Here we go.
Alright, I am muting, and if there is any audio issues, it does look like Video Ninja is actually the source of a little bit of audio lag.
All right.
It seems to pop up and clear out, so we should be fine.
Okay, we're live right now. Just FYI, guys.
Oh, snap.
No worries.
Okay. Hold on, we have to wait the obligatory, 30 seconds or whatever?
Oh, yeah, before you start swearing our heads off. Yeah, let's see. Wait, what the hell is this? You can now choose if you want to allow third-party companies to use your content to train AI models in studio settings under third-party training. What?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No, I didn't. We're going to talk about that.
Floating around. That's a
so
YouTube thing,
my
right?
friends have read the terms on that. It's horrible.
Dude, yeah, of course it is.
Okay, so you have to do it like it's on by default, and you have to go disable it?
No, it's opt-in by default.
Oh, it is, because they said I had to go into studio and disable it if I didn't want it, is what the bar said. I'm going to double check this, though. Let me go into videos. Let me go grab one of my random videos here that's public, and I'm going to see if it's enabled.
Everybody I've seen, it's been opt-in.
Okay, let's see. Hey, welcome everybody to Tech Talk, by the way. Sorry about that. We just got a little thrown off. Okay, so where would that setting even be? It said it was under the dashboard. Let me scroll to the bottom. Okay.
That's better.
Show how many likes are on this video, comments, rating, category, short remixing, allow or don't allow embedding, manual review dubs before publishing. I hadn't seen that one before. Tags. Oh, what's this? Allow automatic concepts, experimental. Help viewers learn more about unfamiliar terms without leaving the video. Concepts mentions in your video may automatically appear in the description. That's on by default, by the way, if you're wondering. Featured places. Help viewers explore key places in your video. These are public places like restaurants and shops. We don't display your current location or other private info. That's on by default, by the way. Automatic chapters. Okay, well, we all use those. So the automatic generated AI chapters. Okay, here we go. Altered content. Do any of the following describe your content? Makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't. Alter footage of a real event or place. Or generate a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. Wow, you have to actually select yes or no. Like it doesn't select either or. I bet you, how much you want to bet that kills your searchability?
I do think they've made they had made some statement that they deprioritize AI generated, like because they want to they're trying to squash like those faceless AI channels and stuff. Where they
this wasn't AI though. This was a different one. This is altered content. So basically, it says,
"Oh, when you've made something that might you made Obama sing
exactly." And
Miracle of Christmas.
But here's the thing: it doesn't select yes or no. It leaves them both blank. Unless you have to proactively pick one or the other, and if you don't, I wonder if they derank your video because then they don't know, right? Unless you tell them explicitly.
They might not even let you fully finish the publish if you don't select one.
This is for old videos too. Like I'm opening up an old video and it doesn't select either or. So I select no and saved it, but I'm wondering if it's killing searchability for old videos.
It might.
I might have to go back and do like a blanket thingamabobber. I don't see anything in here having to do with AI though. Let's see, editor, comments, languages, monetization, and copyright. No, I don't want to discard changes. I want to save changes.
From the left menu, select settings. In the overview section, scroll to third-party training. Check the box next to allow third-party companies to train AI models using my content.
Okay, uncheck it. So I'm in the channel content list.
It says sign in to Studio Content Manager.
Okay, I am.
From the left menu, select settings.
Okay, let me find settings here. See, beta, customization, earn, copyright, languages. Settings. I found it. Okay.
In the overview section, scroll to third-party training.
Okay, I have general. I have channel. I have upload defaults. What's that noise? What's that? Oh, damn, PKBs. Thank you. Woo! Thank you, sir. Shit, that freaked me out, man. I made my heart race. I was like, what the hell is that?
That's the only sound I'm allowed to make.
I know.
I need buttons. I need better
buttons. I need to get you buttons.
You know something that bummed me out, and maybe there's a way around it. I bought the 8-bit DOE retro keyboard, right? And it comes with these cool buttons.
That thing's so cool.
Well, but I thought I could make custom things, and they're
what are they bound to?
It's like locked to their software. You have certain options and stuff, but I thought I would be able to set it up so that like OBS would capture the inputs and like play a sound or something. And
that's rithead that you can't. So wait, so what does the software look like that comes with it? Can you change what each key does?
I don't remember. But there's some little. I looked into it a little bit, and
I mean, you got to at least be able to change like what the key does. Like,
no,
right.
But the thing is, like, there's only certain options.
That's ass, dude.
Yeah, and I was really bummed about it. I thought I could be able to, because like I could hit one or the other, and it would be like ba-ding, and or like a cash register sound or womp womp or something like that. What is it called? Ultimate software? Do I still have it? It doesn't look like I have it installed.
So what happens if you open up like Notepad and you push the buttons? What does it do by default?
Oh, good question. Because it's actually bound on the keyboard as well. They have the same A/B buttons, and they are supposed to do the same thing, whatever it is. So let's see.
But they're not programmable.
Probably nothing at this point because I don't have anything.
So you're saying it does come with software to program the buttons to do what you want?
Yeah, but they can only do certain little, like a very narrow set of options.
Gotcha. Well, so the way that you work around that is using a program called AutoHotkey.
That makes sense.
So it's a free program called AutoHotkey. What you do is you bind the button to like Control-Alt-Windows key 1. Like a sequence you never use,
that's
right?
what I was thinking. And then I'd be able to push the button and it would do something.
Yep. So in the software, you say, hey, I want button A to be Control Windows key Alt 1, which is like a combo nobody would ever use for anything, right?
Right.
So you put that in there, and then you go into AutoHotkey, and you say, when this sequence of keys are pressed, it creates a global hotkey. You say, when you see Windows, Control Alt 1 pressed, then do this event, do these events. And you can have it, and it has a million events in it. You can do anything. You can send keyboard input, you can send mouse input, joystick input, you can turn things on, turn things off, run Python scripts that send commands to other things. I've used AutoHotkey for years, and it's actually really, really helpful. If anybody in chat knows of something that's better than AutoHotkey, I would love to know, because I've been using it for so long. I've never even looked for an alternative at this point.
Press the profile. Oh, hey.
Hey, Car Wash. Thank you so much, man. So much, dude. I appreciate it, brother. Seriously. Merry Christmas to you. Hell yeah. I should probably share this out. I haven't told anybody we're even doing this. After last week and my shit show.
I saw that you streamed yesterday, man. Congratulations. Good for you.
Thank you. That was a difficult thing, but I got through it. I made her happen. Okay, does this copy to the live stream or copy to the dashboard? Here, I don't want to send somebody a dashboard link. That would be awkward. Okay, that looks right. Okay, I'm going to send out the link. Let me go to, I normally do this before the stream, but I got a little flustered.
Oh, maybe I can.
Oh, what did you find?
That's a F. So I can make the thing be like an F key. I can make it a navigation. I can have it go up, down, left, or right.
Yep. Modifiers. Yeah, usually those softwares have quite a few options you can do. Since it's usually the keyboard plays the macro back, like
default.
How many keys can you push though? Like, does it say how many keys you can push simultaneously? Like when you push that key, how many keys do you do?
I'm sure somewhere it said that. I don't know.
Because the more the better, right? Because you don't want to pick any keystroke that somebody could accidentally press, right?
Yeah.
You want it to be on purpose, and you want it to be like
see, it's just like I can set it to be any of the regular like shortcuts that you would have on your keyboard.
Yeah.
Like volume up, volume down, mute, symbols. I could have it do like the upside down exclamation mark if I want it, or I guess not actually. It's just like your regular shift symbols above your numpad, num key. Mouse function, I could make it do a left click or a scroll click.
So it sounds like it does quite a bit of stuff, but if it doesn't do the thing you want, definitely try AutoHotkey.
Yeah.
BB Junkie said, evening guys, big shout out to Adam for stepping up with the new Switch. That was nice of him, man. So for those of you guys that don't know, we traced the problem that we were having last week with Tech Talk where we were dropping packets like crazy. It turned out being me. The joke is it's always me. It actually was me that time. It wasn't Ziply. I had to delete my post to Ziply. Luckily they didn't see it because I didn't want to run them down a rabbit hole and waste their time. But the problem all stemmed from a Netgear 10 gig Switch that I had, which ironically Adam also bought me many, many years ago. And the Switch has a problem. It's not a smart Switch, so you can't update the firmware. It's a dumb Switch. So it has a known problem. And I even found it online. Even Adam has encountered this problem with it before, where sometimes within a week, within a month, it'll just start dropping packets like crazy. And you basically have to unplug and replug it back in, then it works fine for a while. So mine hit that issue for the first time in years. Like I've never noticed it do this before, or at least when I was having problems, I never thought to look at the Switch as the problem, right? So we found out that if I plug this specific device I have, it's a P-Night DMX controller that I bought that goes into RJ45 directly, so I can control all the DMX lights and everything from Ethernet. When I plug that into that other Switch, it works fine for a while, but then it drops a little packet, then it drops more packets, then it drops more, and it cascades. But the reason I've never really noticed this problem is because I always unplug it because I steal the power away from it to charge something.
Oh, yeah.
So like I never let it get really bad. Well, then I left it plugged in for a week or 2 weeks while I was laid up in bed, never unplugged it. So it was just on, the switch, and it was just causing this huge loop on the switch. Oh. And there was also another problem that was really interesting too. So the way you fixed it was you just powered it off, powered it back on. That's all I would have had to do. Tech Talk would have been saved had I known this last week. Like just unplug it, plug it back in. However, if I unplug any of the Ethernet ports and plug it back in 2 or 3 times in a row within like a minute, it starts dropping packets again. So the bug inside of the thing has to do with something connecting and disconnecting rapidly, causing persistent packet loss.
Yeah.
And so Adam said he'd had a problem with the switch before. I went on the forum. Sure enough, other people had reported this exact same problem, and everybody's solution was just put it on one of these like little CASA or TP-Link switches and set it up to schedule to reboot every week, and you won't have the problem. And just don't plug anything and don't unplug anything. So Adam was like, nah, that's not a good solution. So Adam just sent me this just shows up in my house. Hold on. So this Unify Networking little USB-C powered 4-port 10 gig, 1-port 1 gig uplink smart hub. It's called a Flex XG. I have no idea how much this thing costs, but everything Ubiquiti is really expensive. And it says it's a fully managed, so this is a smart switch. That immediately makes them really expensive.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean more expensive.
Yeah, multi-gigabit layer 2 switch with 4 10 gig, 1 gig. And and check this out. It can be powered by PoE. I've never seen a switch powered by PoE before. This is brilliant. Because the switch is literally powered by another Ethernet port if you want it to. Like you can take a PoE Ethernet port, run the uplink to this thing, and it will actually not only be the uplink to the switch, but also power it too. So the switch literally doesn't need any power cables. You can literally just plug it into any PoE network and it'll power the device. That blew my mind. The other thing is it comes with a power adapter, which I'm using up here, which is USB-C. So you just plug this thing into USB-C and it powers the whole thing. I was like, that's crazy. So it says that, and it's very small. The thing feels like it's made out of solid steel. You pick it up, it's the heaviest, like for its size, it feels like you're lifting a gold brick. Like if it just feels like there's no electronics in it, just a giant metal heatsink. It also came with a cool wall mounting plate that I'm going to do so I can mount it underneath the desk, and it can like pop on and pop off really easy. Like Ubiquiti's really good at making mounting plates. They're awesome.
For sure.
I've just fallen what?
I want to print out the little UFO legs for my access points.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I saw those.
Like War of the World, little three legs thing is pretty fun.
I saw those. hey, Nathan, if you can hear me, check the chat and respond to me in Video Ninja, if you don't mind, sir. No, I just want to make sure that his buddy doesn't miss the opportunity. Car Wash Channel, thank you for the $5. We really appreciate it. Said Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to AuxxZillary. Love you guys. Hope you have a great holiday. We're really trying over here to get through it, but just like everybody else, I think a lot of people struggle during this time of the year. I really struggle this time of the year. I know you have your struggles too, brother. Like it's not smooth sailing for any of us. Yeah. So
sure. Yeah,
so it hasn't been a really fun ride, and Christmas is supposed to be fun, right? So, but I'm lucky. I've got a super understanding wife. I've got a kiddo that doesn't even care. Like Chris, if we don't even have a tree or lights and he gets like, a couple games, he's cool. Like he doesn't, he's not one of those kids that he needs a lot, or he's like getting really disappointed if he doesn't get a bunch of stuff. So at least I don't feel like a huge failure in that point. But yeah, my goal is just get through New Year's, right? That's always my goal every year. Is I'm like, regardless of how hard it is, I just say, you know what? Focus on Christmas, get through Christmas, recover the next day, get through New Year's, and then my brain does a thing where it clicks. I don't know if it's an OCD thing or not, because it's like there's no real difference between before and after New Year's, right? It's like it's just another day. But in my brain, there's a reboot that happens every year, and it takes a huge
the patterns and the routine of things, and there's emotional connections to those dates and stuff. So
yeah, it's weird, man. It's so weird. It catches you out. PK Beast, thank you again though for that $63.09 super chat. I'm guessing that was some other denomination.
50 pounds.
50 pounds. Hey, that pound is still holding its worth, sterling. Man. Pound sterling. Woo! Said Merry Christmas, you beautiful people. I appreciate that, man. Long live the oops.
Well, I don't. The king now is kind of a. I don't know. I don't know nothing about him.
He's not doing well health wise though, is he?
Why couldn't the queen just keep going? She's supposed to be like a robot or something.
She had a good run, man.
Queen Elizabeth II forever.
She had a good run. I am kind of curious about that to any of our European viewers out there. Well, actually, you guys with Brexit, I should just say anybody living like literally in the UK. Is it just the UK now?
Yeah,
that's broken off.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody that lives in the UK, it's like, is having a king what changed? Like, what is it one of those things where it's more of just a symbolic thing? Because you guys still have a government, basically, right? You have a governing body. The king and queen never really took like crazy executive authority very often. So
I don't think they really have much in the way of actual power anymore.
They actually have a pretty insane amount of power, but they rarely wield it because it could piss the people off.
Really?
Oh yeah. Check this out. Check this out. They can fire.
Like a tourist thing. Like
no,
they don't actually do anything.
The queen can literally, if they won't do what she wants, she can fire them all. She can literally disband and freeze the entire. What do they call it? Their Congress, their version of Parliament. She can basically. She can't stop them. She can't say no. Like if the people's opinion's there, but she can fire the people. So there is this weird case. Well, I shouldn't say she. Now it's King Charles. But apparently they do have the power to basically just punt Parliament, and then in that case they would have a full monarchy. Like they would be in charge.
It is so. It is similar to our president. I didn't realize that. I didn't. So they have some. They have some power in the sense of like they represent the country outside of. They're like the face of the country to other countries and things like that.
But they can do something our president can't, though. They can actually, like, our executive order can be shot down by the Supreme Court. They can say it's unconstitutional and punt it back, right? So the president has limited by the Constitution unless he gets it changed, which requires the House and the Senate to get involved in all this stuff, right? With the queen or the king, they can basically say, Parliament, I want to do the opposite thing that you guys want to do. And if Parliament says no, she can fire them or replace them with somebody who does, and they get the full say. There's no, like, the people don't get to pick the person. They can literally say, I want Fred over there. I want my own son. Now you're the Parliament guy. Now you do what I want you to do. But the reason they don't is because apparently if they do that, the people could, theoretically rise up against them.
You got the 17th century France.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. They know all too well what happens when you piss off the people, right?
Here we go. It says the
Barry
Parliament
B.
stripped the monarchy from the Stuarts. The current monarchy is illegitimate.
Oh, man, we got some drama up in here.
Royalty.
Hey, Barry.
That's a double pun. I didn't even mean that.
Barry hooked us up at 20. Yeah. He said, hi, bitchy poo. Here wishing a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to both of you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Here, let me reply with a courtesy 8 == D --. Oh, apparently my dash key doesn't work. So I have a problem with my keyboard. And I think it's my fault. I think I did it.
Of course.
Where it has multiple profiles because it's all programmable. It has like basically an ESP32 built into the keyboard.
Right.
And I think I accidentally hit a key when I was like super high on medication, and I like tried to create macros out of like some keys, and now they don't work at all. So, and I don't know how to reset the profile. Like I can go into the software and reset everything, but I don't want to reset all the profiles. I need to go in and be like, how do I just reset these individual keys back to what they're supposed to be? Because I switched to one profile, I'm missing minus, and then I switched to the other profile and I'm missing alt, which is a pretty important key. So I'm like, damn. So I have one profile left out of the 3 that I can access. Or actually, wait a second. I think I can access more than that. I think if I hold the key down, wait, so I got profile, I got 1, 2, 3. What if I hold it and hit like 4 and 5 and 6? That's right. I have like 10 profiles. Okay, sweet. Never mind. I think I solved my problem. Let me check this. I'm gonna see if this works. Equals.
Easy.
No, that did not fix it. I don't think. Let me see. Did it? Nope. I still don't have the little minus key. Let me do profile 10. Okay, try that. Dash. I do not have any dash anymore. I am without dash, sir.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Oh, I got it back. Okay, I got it back. We're good. Dude, it's so broken, man. Oh, Retro, I said Jerry's always breaking shit, but he's always finding ways to fix it and teach us something new. See, that's the thing. People say I know a lot about computers. It's not because I study computers, because I hit every problem and have to find the solution.
That's the thing. Like, I have to say that's a big part of
it really is.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, how do you know all this stuff and blah blah blah. I'm like, partly because like I read a lot as a kid. Like I would go on hardcore like Wikipedia rabbit holes and shit like that. But at the same time, it's just as much of like I was left to figure shit out on my own.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
my dad was like, I'm gonna show you this like once, and then Like if you come to me asking questions, like you better have tried something. I want to know that you've tried before you come and talk to me.
Yeah, my dad was the same way on stuff like that. Like he'd explain once, and it's like if you didn't get it, you're just SOL, right? Like you're shit out of luck. Sorry.
Dude, first thing, bringing home a PC, he's like, I don't want you you're gonna have to figure this shit out. Like I don't want you just playing games and goofing off on this shit. Like you are gonna need to know how to do this. And I'm like, okay, like shit, all right.
I mean, in some ways that's good, but you got to be a little. I think parents need to be a little bit more reasonable than that, especially if their kids are young, and be like, listen, they're all over the place, they're batshit crazy, especially if they're going through their teens and they're like all hormonal and all over the place. Yeah. So you got to have a little bit of leeway there and be able to answer some questions. But yeah, my parents would get so frustrated or my dad would get so frustrated, would be like, oh, hey, how do I do this thing? And I just couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't because like he gave me a shitty explanation. That's what it comes down to. Like realistically, like no joke, he just gave me a bad explanation. So I'd ask him again, and then he'd just get pissed off and be like, I already told you. And then he'd tell me the same thing again, which was the first shitty explanation that didn't work.
Yeah.
And then he'd expect me to figure it out, and then I'd eventually just go ask my grandpa or whatever, and he'd be like, oh, I'll be happy to show you and explain why this works the way it is. Because that's the other thing with me is I never liked taking answers that were like, this is just how it works, accept it. Yeah. Like for me, I have to know how shit works. Like I legitimately, like first time I ever fired a gun, right? I was like, I didn't just accept that you just point it, pull this trigger, and fire comes out the end and it kicks your shoulder, and that's the end of it. Like I needed to know how that mechanism worked. Otherwise, I feared it. Because I was like, I don't like this. This is a big, loud, noisy thing that destroys shit. I need to know how this works, you know? So so I've always had a quest for knowledge because I just get frustrated and almost like scared sometimes when I don't understand how something works. Like I wouldn't get in a car not knowing how it works. Like no freaking way, right? There's a lot of people getting in cars have no idea how the engine works. Like even today, like if you talk to somebody who's not a car nut, they don't know what a crank is. They don't know what cylinders and rods are. They don't understand it's a modified bicycle. Like a lot of these people, they just think you put gasoline in it, it burns and it turns the tires. And it's like that's about the.
Yeah, you should. It helps. I feel like it helps to alleviate some of the frustration that comes when things go wrong. Like when I learned software development, it gave me a much better appreciation for the reasons why shit goes wrong, like bugs in games, or when software doesn't work quite the right way, or just any of it, like the gremlins that just pop up in systems and stuff. These are incredibly complex machines, and they have gotten exponentially more complex, and so weird shit's just gonna happen. Like I've wrote enough bullshit software, pardon my French, but like to know that like nothing can change while you're developing. Nothing. Like I just woke up this morning and now my program doesn't work. When I tested it last night before I went to bed and I saved and everything, nothing is
right.
And like that just happens. And so, yeah, I think having a basic understanding of how things work gives you a better appreciation for it, and it helps you to be less frustrated when things go wrong, and helps guide you to fix it.
Yeah. Like how frustrated are you when you wake up though and you look at your code, like you say, and it's like, wait, this worked last night. Why doesn't it work today? Like it doesn't make sense. It's the same goddamn computer, but a lot of people don't think that it's like a lot of the stuff you call into has dependencies, and those dependencies have dependencies, and then those dependencies can change. Like, for instance, if you write a program and you're like, oh, I'm going to write a program that sets the clock on my computer, and you call the API to go and get the time. But behind that, it's hitting a bunch of NNTP servers or whatever, trying to pull like the time from NIST, right? And if it can't connect to that server, it just returns back, the API just returns back a random number and says, it's not 0, I failed. And your code is like, it didn't work. And you're like, well, wait a second, this worked fine yesterday. And you have to think about it and be like, oh, wait a second. I'm calling into something that could be using the internet. And then you have to go through and debug it, and you'll step through the code and figure out where is the failure. Or better yet, you learn over time that if you are writing a piece of code that you don't fully understand end to end, you know that you should wrap it in some kind of a exception handler, or put some extra error handling on it for debugging purposes, right? Like whenever I write a program, the first pass through in the program, I heavily instrument it, like putting in debug code. And I flag it with pragma directives if I'm doing C, or if I'm doing like C#, I think you can just do if-def debug or something like that. So you basically say this section is debug, this section isn't. You can put in big chunks of code that when you compile the debug version, it has all this extra code. And then when you want to compile the version you give to everybody else, it's a more lean and mean and streamlined version that cuts out all that heavy stuff. And when I was at Microsoft, hey, Putch44, how's it going, man? So when I was at Microsoft, it was the same deal. Every build of Windows that we had 2 versions. Every day, we'd build the new version of Windows. So they take all the changes from the VBLs or virtual build labs, and they do forward integrations, reverse integrations. Basically, everybody passed their code down to the branches, and then those branches would slowly integrate the code back up until they got to this branch called WinMain. And WinMain was like the melting pot where all the code comes together from all the different branches. And so when you built that final branch, you'd build 2 versions of it. You'd build a checked build, which is just fancy name for a debug build, and then a release build. And so the checked build was always bigger binaries, slower loading, slower booting, a lot more telemetry going out to the debugger. Like if you had a serial debugger attached, it would just be piss and text to the console, whereas the release version wouldn't hardly be saying anything. And that's because you want to have a version of, if you hit a bug, you want to be able to go over to the checked version of the operating system and try to recreate that bug, because you get a lot more information as to what's going on, and it's easier to narrow it down and figure out what the problem is. But you also need a computer that's a lot more powerful with a lot more RAM. You know, especially if you're doing timing stuff. If you're doing timing dependent stuff, the checked builds run so much slower that you might have a bug that hits all the time on another computer because it's slow enough, because it's fast, but then you go over to the checked build and it slows the computer down enough that it never hits the bug again. And a lot of bugs you hit in programming are things called race conditions. I'm sure, have you ever hit a race condition before?
I don't think so.
So a race condition is where you have 2 things accessing the same resource at the exact same moment, and they basically cancel each other out, or they lock each other up. And so this is why a lot of code, if you do any multi-threaded code, use locking mechanisms like semaphores and mutexes and
that sounds familiar. Semaphores.
So, so there's a million different locking mechanisms in every language that are available to you, and each one does different, somewhat different things, but they all do the same thing, which is, hey, I need to use this resource right now, so everybody else that needs to use this resource, get in line. Everybody queue up. And then you run your code, and then when you get out of the block of code where you're no longer using the resource, you release the lock, and then the next one in line grabs it. And so the lock is kind of like the conch in Lord of the Flies, right? Where it's like whoever has the conch can talk, right? So, and locks are very important in multi-threaded code, but if you use them too much, you slow things down. So the goal is to only use locks as sparingly as possible to ensure that you never hit a race condition where like 2 things that happen at the same time break your code. But it's really hard to figure that out. Like that's a real hard problem to figure out because you're running on different hardware with different numbers of cores, different speeds, different hell, even different architectures now with like some of the code that's like you can compile it cross architecture, right? So it's like you don't know, what kind of shit you're going to hit. So a lot of people will just play it really safe and put in a ton of locking mechanisms that are unnecessary, and then it defeats multi-threading. So like the whole point of multi-threading is you want every core to be used as much as it can to achieve your job, right? Like ideally you want to open up Task Manager and see every core at 100% when you're doing something because you want that program to be optimized and using it. Yeah.
Paid for all these cores. I'm going to use all these
cores.
Use
them damn cores. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, but what happens with locks is if you're holding a lock, you'll see this thing where it's like one core will fire off, then another core will be dead, and then that core will fire off, then they'll be dead, next core fires off, and you're like, wait a second. Why am I holding a lock on this thing when there's 50 other cores that could do this? Right? Like you don't want to put locks in places that do shit like that. So, don't do that. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn throughout coding, like conditional locking and stuff like that. You have to read the documentation on API, and a lot of public documentation doesn't say if it is or isn't, but you got to look for something called thread safe. So like when we looked when I was at Microsoft, we had a thing called MSDN. I don't even know if it's still around. But MSDN was basically a catalog of every API, like every single API in the Microsoft Windows libraries across the entire operating system. Everything in User 32 DLL, everything in MS-DOC VW, everything. Explorer, any place that had an API, any EXE or DLL that you could load, the API was documented in MSDN. It would tell you if it was public or private, meaning that Microsoft, it's undocumented and we can use it inside of Microsoft, but people outside of Microsoft aren't supposed to use it. Those would be the undocumented ones. Then you have the documented APIs, like the Win32 APIs, like that people would use for like Windows messaging and stuff like that. So what you do back in the past is it was really painstaking. You'd go look at an API and then you'd read through the documentation and it would say if it was thread safe or not. And if it's thread safe, that means you can call it as much as you want across as many threads as you want. And the API itself behind the scenes will ensure that the locks and stuff are put in place to protect itself. However, you'll have APIs sometimes, more often than not, it'll say it's not thread safe. And that means if you call this, on 2 threads, you run the potential of them colliding with each other and creating random behavior. And so if it's not thread safe, that's basically telling you that, yeah, you probably should put some kind of a lock mutex semaphore or some kind of locking mechanism on it. So, coding was really complicated back in the day. Like, it really was. Multi-threaded programming, a lot of people couldn't wrap their heads around it. It was something that I was really good at, but a lot of people struggled with it.
I remember it was a little tough with Android programming.
Yep. It's way different now, though.
I imagine it's gotten a lot better.
If you do object-oriented programming now, you don't even look at threads anymore. There's a concept of a thread pool.
Yeah.
Right? So nowadays, all you do is say, hey, I have units of work. You build your units of work, and then you put your units of work into a queue, and the thread pool figures it out. And that's how Windows likes to do things now. Like, even if you read inside of MSDN, .NET framework.
Feel good. I don't know. That doesn't feel good. Like...
if you're used to multi-threaded programming, it feels like they're taking the wheel away from you, and it's like autopilot, and you have no say.
I'd probably feel the same if I had come from like C++, where you have to manage your own memory, versus like C# where there's garbage collection done for you and things like that, and you don't have to really worry about it. And so like, I imagine it's a similar sort of feeling. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure I'm going to trust the auto system to release the memory like it's supposed to, and so it's a similar sort of thing. I don't know that I would feel comfortable with the system deciding how to thread stuff. I don't know.
The thing is,
depending on how complicated your app or whatever is, I suppose. Like,
well, the nice thing is you can ignore it, right? Like, as a developer, you can ignore it and say, screw it, I'm going to use the old method, right? They'll do this thing where they deprecate APIs. Like, basically, they'll say, listen, this API is about to be deprecated, which means you have 1 or 2 more versions that come out before this. You can no longer call this. Right. Now, you have to adapt in those situations, right? But I've never really seen them deprecate APIs related to like through creating threads, because creating threads is like a fundamental part of programming. Yeah. So taking that out of a language, even if you have another mechanism to handle it, would be a really bad idea, because one, you'd break every other application ever made before that. Like, especially when you're talking about runtime managed code like .NET, where it's built when you run it. Like a .NET assembly, when it gets compiled, it doesn't get compiled into binary like C and C++. It gets compiled into something called MSIL, which is Microsoft Intermediary Language. And it's basically a bastardized version of assembly. And you didn't even read it. You didn't even open up the file and just like read through it. It literally looks like assembly code. Like, I mean, pushes and moves and all that stuff. And so this assembly code, when you run it, much like Java, it loads it into the runtime and compiles it as it's running. And so that gives you a lot of advantages, actually. One, it does slow things down in the beginning, because having a compiled binary, you're going to load and run faster. But by runtime compiling, you benefit from all of the hardware perks of the system. And this is like the cool thing that I like about .NET Framework and Windows and where they've gone, is back in the Linux days, once you built your binary and ran it, it was as optimized as it could be. Like, once you built your binary, it's designed to use these features of the CPU, maybe some SSE2, extensions on your x86 architecture. Maybe it uses a couple like little things here and there, knickknacks from your hardware that you have installed, but that's it. You're done. Once you build that binary, that's all it's ever going to be able to do is utilize that. When you build stuff in .NET or runtime languages, even like Java to some extent, but for .NET specifically, if you build a program and you run that same program in 100 years, on a new modern 100-year-old computer, completely different architecture, completely different everything, right? It has nothing in common with the previous computer. In theory, you can build it with that version of the framework, and that version of the framework will say everywhere where those deprecated APIs are, now run the new version, and then run the new version of that, and run the new version of that. That takes advantage of this and that. Oh, you now have GPU acceleration? Oh, all the calls that didn't use GPU acceleration, now they magically just get GPU acceleration.
That makes sense.
And Python's the same way. Like, I love Python for that reason, because Python is runtime compiled from a script. It's the same deal. If you write something in Python, it might run like shit today, but then a new computer comes along that has like some algorithm in it, or you gain GPU acceleration or something like that. And depending on how you wrote your Python script, it could just magically take advantage of that technology you didn't even have at that time. It just comes as a freebie, right? And that I like. That's the kind of stuff I like about managed versus unmanaged programming. Like, if you ever hear people talk about managed versus unmanaged, managed code is where you have things like you mentioned garbage collection, right? Mm-hmm. That's a managed feature. Managed code means that your code is sitting on top of a runtime, and that runtime is doing certain things for you. Garbage collection, if it notices that you abandon memory, it frees it up to the system. And conventional coding under C and C++, if you just abandon a pointer, that memory is just gone until your program terminates. Yep. So you don't get garbage collection, right? So the native code, if the native code is written perfectly, And .NET code is written perfectly. In theory, the native code should run slightly faster because you don't have any of the translation, right? You're running on bare metal. However, there are very few developers in the world that can program that kind of perfection. The cool thing with .NET is you can be the shittiest developer in the world with .NET and come pretty damn close to the best developer because that runtime holds your hand so much.
Yep.
And that I like. And that's why I think anybody can be a programmer now. Like back in the day, I told people you have to be a certain kind of person to program, right? You have to have a certain you have to have a certain analytical mind. You don't have to be like a math professor or anything. You do have to have an appreciation for math. You have to have appreciation for the architecture and how computers do things. All that's out the window now. If you want to write a game, you can go and watch some YouTube tutorials, bust out Unity or Unreal Engine, and it's literally 90% drag and drop to get your foundation. And then the code that you do have to write, AI can handhold you through it. And the funny thing is, AI is now showing up in every IDE now, like every code developer.
Yeah, but I mean, the writing was on the wall with once you started down the path of IntelliSense, like where else was it going to go? At least within the context of just like software development and programming, like. Of course it would. You have access to the entire documentation of your programming language and your IDE. And so like, it makes sense that that's how that would evolve. Like I figure even without ChatGPT and all this other LLM stuff, that was going to be the future of IntelliSense and that sort of a feature anyway. Like,
dude, I remember we used to joke around so much. Oh, hey, Tech Chef 420. Thank you. Thank you for the $2. And Elon is now giving Grok away even to non-paid users. Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah, and it's still pretty trash. So
I mean, Grok is of all the mainstream LLMs, Grok is dead last. Grok is Elon made the stupidest mistake. They warned him against it in typical Elon format. He told him to fuck off and did it his way, and now he's losing for it. So
why else would he have put it out to everybody?
Yeah, he thought it'd be a great idea to train Grok on the most sick and inaccurate posts ever made by man on the social media network that's known for the most inaccurate, hyperbolic information.
Right, look what fucking Microsoft's chat bot thing that they trained on Twitter.
Microsoft
10 years ago. Yep. And it like in less than a week, it become like a freaking Nazi.
And so try this. Go to Grok. Go to Grok.
It's gonna happen.
I'll open up Grok and I'll say simple stuff like. And this Elon says Grok is the only AI that has access to data from tweets. Like he's our posts, right? X posts.
Yeah.
He's like it's the only one. So you can query against it. No, you can't. Watch how many followers. This should be an easy one, right? How many followers does Elon Musk have? That's all I'm gonna ask, right? Okay, it's searching. Keep in mind, this should be fixed because I've done this demo so many times over the last like 3 years. Oh, actually, this might be close. Okay, it says Elon Musk has surpassed 208 million followers on X. That's true. Let's see how close he is to 208 million though, because it should be able to give me an exact number.
208,409,130.
So let's see, 208. Okay, you know what? That's pretty damn close. That's the first time I've done that test, and I've done that test. If you go back through my Twitter history. Or my X history, I've done this test like a million times and it always gives me the wrong numbers. And the funny thing is, I went to OpenAI, it gave me the right numbers. I went to Google Gemini and it gave me the right numbers. So here, let's see if it knows how many I have. How many followers on X does Barnacules have? Okay, let's see. It does say searching now. I didn't do that before. So, okay, check this. As of our latest information available, Barnacules has 273 followers on X. What? I actually have 105,000. So he actually has a lot more. Try again. Okay, now it says it's doing the beep boop beep. My apologies for the confusion. Based on this most recent information, Barnacules now has 129,000 followers on X.
Whoa.
I never had 129 followers on X. He said, please note the follower count can fluctuate. Okay, how many does he have today as of this moment?
Just shy of 105,100.
Yep. So I'm specific, right? It says, as of 11:56 a.m. on December 21st, 2024, Barnacules has 129,125 followers, which I don't.
Nope.
So yeah, it literally just hallucinates about everything. Like, and you can't trust the damn thing it says. So Grok is, no wonder he's giving it away. I mean, it's literally a piece of shit. It's literally a piece of shit. So yeah, definitely don't use Grok for anything. Like it's honestly, you're better off running like Llama under a local LLM using like LM Studio. By the way, if you guys want to run your own LLMs, you can, like completely free. So There's a couple ways you can do it. You can either go to, I think it's huggingface.com. What is it? Huggingface.co. So huggingface.co. I'll put a link there in chat for you guys. If you guys want to do anything with LLMs or honestly even content generation, everything, most of them are published under Hugging Face. And Hugging Face allows you to basically get free compute time. You just if too many people are using it, you jump in a queue and you just get in line.
Good question.
What?
Joseph asked, best AI to use for coding. From what I understand, Claude.
Claude is what I use.
Anthropic is like the best at code.
I've tried them all. I've tried them all.
I think it can even run Python in its little code window. Like it'll run the code.
I think it's like as best it can. I think it's a simulation, but it does do it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it can't pull real data from APIs and stuff and that kind of a thing. But it can you can kind of halfway test the code in their little window and stuff.
Yep. So the specific version I use is Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And Claude 3.5 Sonnet is amazing at writing code. And the cool thing is that of all the AIs, it's the one where every piece of code I write, I copy and paste, it just runs. For Python specifically. Like every other one I have errors. There's some errors in either syntax or it's calling an API that doesn't exist. 99.9% of the time, everything I tell it to write, whatever code I copy and I run, it actually does execute. Like there's no syntax error, And I really like that.
I want to use for I want to start playing around with Godot or Godot or whatever, Godot. I have ideas percolating and I need to have a little bit of a creative hobby on the side.
You should, man. You should.
Streaming and stuff.
Did I tell you that I finally fixed my AC by using the ESP32 program with AI?
Yeah. And you got the little doodad that
it's running
kick on when it hits a certain temperature and all that. Yeah. You're showing us that last stream.
Yeah, I'll show it now that we're not dropping packets here. This is the little guy right here. You see, I took the utmost in packaging. No, but this right here, $5 ESP32 microcontroller, right? This is a temp and humidity sensor. Costs about $4 on AliExpress. You can get it for $1. And I have a speaker. I disconnected it. It was for error. It's just for telling me about errors because it obviously doesn't have a screen, so it uses beeps to tell me about the errors. So I used Claude to write the code for this. And what this thing does is it connects to my Wi-Fi network. This little thing right here connects to my Wi-Fi network. It checks the temperature every 10 seconds through this little probe. And then if the temperature goes above 70 degrees Fahrenheit, it then connects to my CASA switch that I have my air conditioner plugged into and a fan. And it turns on my air conditioner that's stuck on. That's the reason why I did this, is because my air conditioner never turns off. When you give it power, doesn't matter if the panel's on or off, compressor kicks on and stays on forever. So if you leave it in that state, the room just gets down to like 40 degrees and then it freezes into a solid block of ice and tries to blow itself up. So what this does, this takes over the role of the electronics package that on the actual AC itself that died. So what this does, it sends a signal to this, gives power to the AC, that turns on the AC, it starts pumping out cold air. The room temperature starts to come down. Once this detects 68 degrees, which is my low threshold, it checks a little thing and says, has it been 5 minutes since the last time I turned on or turned off the AC? Because you never want to cycle an AC more than once every 5 minutes because you want to let the oil drain back down out of the compressor. Otherwise, you can burn it up. So it checks that 5-minute timer. And then once it's outside of that 5-minute window, it's armed. And then as soon as the temperature goes above 70, it turns the AC on. And as soon as it hits 68, it turns it off. And that's all it does. And it sends that command over Wi-Fi to the TP-Link switch. And it knows how to talk to the TP-Link switch because somebody wrote a library on GitHub that I'm using that knows how to talk to TP-Link switches over Wi-Fi. I'm using a Wi-Fi library to connect to the Wi-Fi on the ESP32. And I downloaded the library for controlling this little sensor right here, which is connected to one digital pin. And I basically just use the library and the code tells it what digital pin to check and how to translate the signal coming back into temperature and humidity. And this whole thing right here, it has a USB-C cable for power. All I have to do is plug it into power. It doesn't have to be plugged into a computer. But if I do plug it into a computer, this becomes COM3, and I can open up a terminal like Putty and watch COM3, and it gives me all my text and debug information output to the console. So for like debugging and making sure everything's working the way it is, I can plug it in and actually monitor the serial output. So I'll plug it back in over here. The current temperature in the room is 66 degrees. Oh, hold on here. So the current temperature, God damn it, why is it not working? Hold on here. There we go. So the current temperature in the room is 68 degrees. Hopefully you guys can still hear me facing away. Let's see. Putty. I gotta open up Putty. Putty. Hit COM3. And it should just automatically connect. And I don't know if you guys can see this in the background a little bit, but you'll see right there it's connected to Wi-Fi and then it's outputting telemetry. Mm-hmm. So right now it says the current temperature in the room is 70.9 degrees. The humidity is 45. And it says cost of plug connection verified. Actual state is off. It says, it says the room temperature is now 70 degrees, waiting 5 minutes for threshold to be met, and then that'll turn it on. So in 5 minutes, you're going to notice behind me the fan, there's a box fan that'll turn on and the AC will turn on. You guys will probably hear that. And so it works great. It keeps the room temperature right where I want it. But the neat thing about having my own electronics control the AC versus the electronics that are on the AC, because those are fried anyways and I can't use them, is I can do stuff that AC was never designed to do.
That's right.
I can put the thermal probe on the other side of the room, and I can have the ESP32 control a stirring fan and the AC. So I can have AC turn on, and then if it gets too warm in one spot in the room, I can have the stir fan turn on and mix the air into the other part of the room just long enough to equalize the temperature and then turn itself back off again. And I can do cool stuff like use AI. I haven't done it yet, but I'm exploring it. I can use AI to create a neural network that studies the trends of temperature in my room based on my equipment and how I use it, when I use it, and how I run it. And it can create a chart to predict the temperature curve and act beforehand. So instead of waiting for it to get to 70 degrees before the AC kicks on, it'll turn on the AC at like 69.2 degrees so that the room will actually hit 70 as the compressor's, building up cold to start blowing the cold air so that it never actually gets above that ceiling, where right now it rubber bands a little bit. So the old AC couldn't do shit like that. But this is stuff that you can do once you take control of it. And it's like the whole electronics package is like $5 worth of electronics. It runs off a USB port, so you can plug it into any USB dongle to give it power. And so you can do anything you want, right? That's what's cool about embedded programming on these Arduino devices. And Raspberry Pi, same way, right? Raspberry Pi, a lot of people consider Raspberry Pi is a little easier to develop for if you're doing it without AI's assistance. Because ESP32, you have very minimal resources. Like you only have a couple megabytes of memory. Your CPU is only like 80 megahertz. Like it's very slow, right? It's not a super fast computer. But if you want to do like more heavy hitting shit, you can get like a Raspberry Pi 4. I think they got a 5 now. Don't they have a Raspberry Pi 5?
I think so.
So, and those will run Windows 11. Like Raspberry Pis now, they're like $30-$40. They're expensive. But for $40, you can actually get an embedded like processor with everything you need. It can do sound, it can do networking, it can do Bluetooth, it can do NFC. Like it'll do all this stuff off this like little board that you can pay like $40-$50 for, and then you can program whatever you want and run on it. And you can add memory to it. You can add storage like SSDs and stuff like that. If you want to add storage to an ESP32, it's like quite a bit more difficult. But yeah, it's like sky's the limit, right? You can solve all these problems with embedded programming. You buy these really cool kits too. I bought a kit that's like, do I have, yeah, right here. So you can go on Amazon for like $20, buy these like 40-in-1 sensor kits, and they're all standardized. So you can look at the lid here, has a little picture. So those are all the sensors, and you can buy kits all the way up to like 200-300 sensors if you want to. And these are all different sensors that are compatible with anything. ESP32, Arduino, anything that has a digital pin or an analog pin. These will all work with. So I have like Hall effect sensors, lasers, light beam sensors, heartbeat sensors, RGB LED, flame, joystick. I have many different relays. I have sound generators. I have microphones. Like I could create my own microphone using an ESP32.
Cool.
I could take an ESP32, put a condenser microphone module on it or whatever, package it in a little 3D printed housing with USB out, and have it translate the sound that I'm speaking into data that goes out through the USB cable, and then just have a little driver seat as an HID device. And then I'd have a microphone. It'd be a shitty microphone, but it'd work.
Yeah. Well,
ball switches, tilt switches in case you want to build a bomb, IR receivers. I mean, literally all shit, read switches, like all the stuff you always see in these videos, right? Linear Hall effect sensor, buzzers, passive buzzer, an avoidance sensor, a tracking sensor. Like I don't, and honestly, I have no other data, no other documentation going with these. I just had to go look them up online by typing in the number on the sensor. But you just grab a sensor out of here, you go online, right? Like this little guy right here. Go online, just look it up by it's like a little number on the breadboard, and it'll come up and it'll tell you like what libraries you can use, what APIs are available. You can go on GitHub and find people that wrote projects. Like it's very rare that you have to program anything from scratch. Most people have already created like the foundation that you need to use the thing. And so like if I wanted to make my own video game controller, right? Here it is. That's a top hat, right? There's a top hat just like you'd have on an Xbox. Feels exactly the same as like an Xbox top hat. I can take that if I want and mount it, into a little 3D printed housing, plug it in ESP32, and I can have like a little thing to move the mouse. I can have a wireless Bluetooth mouse that I can make for, $3 for that and $5 for the ESP32. Under $10. Make your own custom like little mouse, right? So And this used to be hard shit that only like crazy nerds could do. And AI's completely changed that. Now you can literally yourself, like knowing nothing about programming, I am confident that within one day, you could go from knowing nothing about programming at all to taking an ESP32 and a couple of sensors, putting them together using AI to write the code and actually have like a genuine piece of hardware doing something that helps you in some way. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I wish more people did this stuff, honestly.
Yeah, man.
He said you need to 3D print a mesh box for the frame. A 3D print a mesh box for the frame. Is he talking about like for my little electronics doodad package?
I don't know.
That would make sense if that's what he's talking about. Dinesh said, does the AC thermostat do the same thing as controlling temp? Why ESP? Just overkill. Does AC thermostat does the same job as controlling the temp? Doesn't the AC thermostat do the same thing as controlling the temperature? So why are you using the ESP? Because it seems because it's broken. The one built into the AC is broken. So my AC now it's a dumb AC. All the relays inside of it are fused on the main board. So when you plug in the AC,
broken. It
just powers on the fans at full power and the compressors at full power. So now I'm just creating a thermostat. That's what that is. What I just created is an ESP32 thermostat, right? Make no mistake, it's a temperature and humidity sensor connected to a board. The only thing it does that a traditional thermostat doesn't is it's actually connecting to devices wirelessly over Wi-Fi and controlling power to and from them. So that's why I built it. It's not like I built this, to just do the same thing the AC already did. My AC is actually broken, and this is how I prevented myself from buying a new AC. Now this is the proper fix, and it would cost more. So I looked up the relay that I need to repair inside of the AC, and there's two relays, and chances are the second relay is probably going to die soon too, because they both had similar duty cycles. So the relays on eBay go for $20 a pop each. So because they're some really old relay for LG air conditioners that handle high voltage, they're more expensive than every other freaking relay I looked at. Now, could I sub in another relay? Possibly, but I'm not an electrical engineer, and I'd want to put in the original relays. That would also require me to take the whole AC electronics compartment apart. I'd have to discharge the capacitor, which I hate capacitors. I've had too many close calls with them. So I'd have to discharge the capacitor, then I'd have to desolder the old relays because they are soldered onboard relays. They're not plugged. So I'd have to desolder the relays, solder in the new relays, and hope I don't destroy the pads on the board by having the iron too hot, which I've done multiple times, so I'm scared to do that too. And my total cost to replace those two relays and get it back online, put it back together, is about $40 in parts plus my labor. The ESP32 was $3 to $5, which I already had, so technically free. The temperature probe I already had in a kit that I bought many years ago, but if I had to buy it, I looked up, it was about $4, or on AliExpress about $1, $4 on Amazon, $1 on AliExpress. So I'm in at $6, and my total labor is about an hour going back and forth with AI to get the program to do exactly what I wanted. And now it actually added features that I didn't have before. Like I can actually do more with the AC because now I can remotely control it. I couldn't do that before. Now I can have it use machine learning if I want to like learn the temperature of the room and everything change thing. I can have it turn on fans and the AC so I can coordinate the fan and the AC to keep the whole room temperature constant. So I can do things that I couldn't do before, and my total cost is $6. So realistically, I created a better solution, in my opinion, that was much cheaper, that has more functionality.
Fuck yeah.
So for me, it's a win. It's a super win. But yeah, could I have bought other solutions I explored? Is you can buy these little inline thermostats. They're like seriously like $60. I don't know why they're so expensive, but you can buy these like little plug-in, like you plug it into the socket. It has a thermostat on it, and I think they're for greenhouses. And it basically, you set the temperature, the min temperature and the max temperature, and it either turns the switch on or turns the switch off at those temperatures. Just what my ESP32 does. It's a mechanical thing, right? You plug it in, they're like $60, and then I could have got one of those, plug the AC into it, and then it would just take the temperature at the plug and it flip it on and off based on that, right? And would that have been a good solution? Yeah, that would have been a great solution, but it wouldn't have allowed me to remotely control it. Like I couldn't remotely hit a button and turn the AC off and keep it off while I'm outside of the room. I would have to physically come up and unplug it, right, when I'm not in the room. So that wouldn't have been as great of a solution. But looking at pros and cons, what would it have done better? Well, it would have been a physical switch with no relying on any other technology like the Wi-Fi. So if my Wi-Fi goes out and the AC is on, it's going to stay on until it just freezes up the coil. So that's not great. I don't have a great solution for that yet. I'm working on that. But I do think there is a solution. And I think the solution in the end is I'm going to have the ESP32 itself connect directly to the TP link instead of going through an access point. I'm going to rig it up so the TP link has a static IP address, an SSID, and then I'm going to have it use some Wi-Fi thing to fake an access point. And the ESP32 is going to trick it into thinking it's an access point, connect directly to it, and then it'll be completely off my network altogether. And that way it'll basically just be communicating wirelessly right with the TP-Link next to it. That way, if all infrastructure goes down, if power dies, I don't have to worry about it. But if all infrastructure goes down, the network goes down, something hangs up, I'm still safe. It'll still make sure the AC cycles properly. The AC is 1500 watts max. Yeah, I checked it. This AC draws at max current. I think it's like 1200 watts because I think it's a 12,000 BTU. It's not a 15,000 BTU. The one I have in the bedroom though draws 1500 and sometimes spikes up to 1600 to start. The startup current.
Yeah,
it really gets up there. ACs do pull a lot of power, but what's neat is these little things, and I don't understand how this little itty bitty thing here handles 1800 watts.
Nice.
That's it. That's absolutely insane. And it even says like right on here, yeah, it's a 15 amp circuit, which is like most. So it's basically saying the average breaker in a house, like if you go into your circuit box, you have breakers. Those are mostly 15 amp breakers. There's some 20 amps depending on the rooms and stuff, and depending on the construction. But the gold standard for like your light switches and stuff, or your little outlets on the walls and stuff, they're usually 15 amps, and you usually share multiple plugs on one circuit. This can eat the entire load of one whole circuit, which is pretty impressive. That means that like anything that would pop the breaker in your house, this will run it right up to that. So if you exceed the power of this thing and you're on a 15 amp circuit, it'll pop the breaker. Meaning that you're not going to have to worry about frying this, because if you go any higher than what this can do, it's going to pop the breaker in your house anyways. So it's really cool. Bradley said, program the TP-Link so that it will time out if there is no response from the ESP. Can I do that? I wonder if I can, because I know the TP-Link does have some scheduling stuff. I haven't played with it yet, but the TP-Link, it's not just a dummy switch where you just send a command and say turn on or turn off. It actually does have some stuff where you can do a schedule. Like you can actually send it a schedule and say, I want you to do this, and then do this at the end of the schedule. So that's a good idea, actually. So if I can program this thing to send a command that says, schedule an event to turn the AC on and then turn it off in an hour, then if my ESP goes offline or anything like that, within an hour by default, it'll turn it off. Otherwise, if I turn it off within the hour, it'll just cancel it out. Dude, you're a genius. Bradley, you're a motherfucking genius. I love it. So, okay, I'm going to write this down real quick. Okay, schedule, change ESP32 code so that it tells TP-Link to schedule an auto shut off within 1 hour. I'll just say within like 1 to 3 hours if it doesn't receive another command. That's a freaking great idea, dude. So temp on here, temp idea.text. There we go. No, that's actually a really good idea, because I forgot about the scheduling aspect. I forgot with these TP-Link Casa and Topo switches, you can issue a schedule. And that would actually fix all of my problems, because that means if the network goes down, that means if my ESP32 fries or the code crashes or anything goes wrong, every command I issue to it can only keep the AC on for a max of an hour. And that's good, because the AC, within an hour, it brings the room to temperature. No matter what the temperature is in here, it'll always bring it to temperature within an hour. So that's a really good way to keep the coil from freezing up. For the coil to freeze up, it usually takes several hours. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, well, I derailed the shit out of that. Let me see here. Where did my window go? Let's see. Advise users on types of mobile AC units. Oh, did people want to know about that? I just saw that in the chat. It says, or sorry, not in chat, sure. Chat from Nathan. It said, advise users on types of mobile AC units. Okay, so there's a couple, and there's one you want to stay away from, like really, really bad, that I didn't know this. This is Adam taught me this, and it makes perfect sense. If you have a mobile AC unit, one that's on wheels inside of your house, one of those portables, and it only has one hose, so it only has one hose that goes to the window, that is a super bad, inefficient AC. Those are terrible. Like in a pinch, you can use it to keep a room cool, but just keep in mind that when you use that, it will cool the one room it's in and make every other room in the house hotter. And the way it does that is by creating a draft. What it's doing is it's taking the air, the cool air inside of your house that it just cooled down, and it's sucking that through to pull the heat out of the coil and then blowing it outside. By doing that, it's creating a pressure differential in your house. It's creating a negative pressure, a vacuum. And that means every little hole, every crack under the door, every place air can come in from outside, that air is now pulling in to replace that air that your AC just chucked outside. And so if it's really hot outside, that means you're sucking in hot air into every other room as it's coming in through these cracks and in through the vents, like in your bathrooms. You'll notice your bathrooms will get really hot because it'll pull that air in through the vent on the ceiling. And so you get a lot of hot in there. So what you want is, if you have a portable AC, which is the worst and least efficient option. You want a 2-hose model. So it should have 2 hoses going to the window. One hose to suck air in and one hose to blow air out. And what it's going to do is it's going to cool the coil that generates all the heat down below in the bottom of the unit. That's going to pull air in from the hot air in from outside, add its heat to it, and then blow the hotter air outside. And by doing that, it keeps the pressure inside of your house neutral. So no cold air getting sucked outside or whatever, no hot air getting pushed inside. Like, it just maintains the pressure of your house. And those are much more efficient. They do generally cost more though. But do not get the 1-hose models. They're absolutely shit. Like, and they don't give you anywhere near the BTU rating that they claim because they physically can't. The next most efficient thing that you can get is a window AC. And window ACs are nice because, one, they don't take up any space, right? They don't take up any foot space in your house. They don't have hoses that cats can punch holes in with their claws and shit like that. They're a little bit harder to tear down and set up than the portables, in my opinion, but not by much. All the heat stays outside. All the noise stays outside. That's what I like about window units, is the back part of the AC has the compressor and the noisy fan and everything, and that stays outside. So when you close the window down on it and you put some insulation around it, like 90% of the noise stays outside. And so they're pretty quiet, and that's why I use one up here in the Nerd Cave. The next generation that you can go to is these things that are they're called window split units. And so instead of putting the window, this is the one I want. The next one, as soon as I can afford it, I'm getting one. But like, that's why I'm jerry rigging, is I cannot afford an AC right now. So what I'm doing instead, with the ESP32 fixing this, if I could afford an AC, the one that I would get is this one called a window split. And the way it works is, instead of having the window come down on the top of the box, it basically bifurcates the unit into 2 sections that are connected at the bottom just by this tiniest little conduit that's like this big. So the window closes 90% of the way in between. Now, windows are really good at rejecting noise because they usually have, a vacuum between the 2 pieces of glass, and they're very good at noise canceling. So now you put the noisy part outside and you bring the window down in between the front of the AC and the back of the AC, the noisy part and the quiet bit. Those are super efficient. They're usually inverter compressors, which are even more efficient. And they're super silent, like an order of magnitude quieter than normal window ACs. And because you get to close your window so much further, you don't have to put like boards and cardboard and shit in alongside the AC to shut down and insulate. It makes it harder for people to break into the house because you can close the window down further, forcing them to have to break the glass and set off like a glass break sensor. So there's a lot of benefits to getting these, and they're competitively priced. Like, they're not that much more than a regular AC unit. So my next AC, that's what I'm getting, 100%. The step up from that is getting one of those mini splits. Those can cost a lot of money, though. The reason I can't get a mini split is because in order to get it up here on the second floor, and where they have to pour the pad and where they have to put the unit so far away from the electrical, they quoted me like $4,800 to install one of these in the Nerd Cave. And they said it'd be, for a couple $100 more, they could put one downstairs in my bedroom also. But I was like, yeah, that's way too much money. But if you're in a house that's more conducive to putting the package closer to your house, it's closer to the electrical, it's easier to run hoses through the walls of your house, you get these mini splits. And what it does is it effectively, think of it like a window AC, but it takes the whole back section of the window AC and just entirely takes it outside of your house, away from your house, and puts it on a pad. And that's and then the front part of your AC that just blows the cold air into the house, that's the only thing that goes inside of the house. And so these are exceptionally quiet, and they're super efficient because you can run a much bigger coil outside. You can wire it into 220, so it can draw a lot more current, which means it can blow a lot more cold air. They don't have to work as hard. They come up to speed faster. The only thing in your house is like this thing. Usually they have a vent that closes. When you turn them on, the vent will just automatically open from the pressure change, and it just blows nice cold air into your room using like a big squirrel cage fan that's like ultra quiet that moves really slow. They're absolutely brilliant, but they're expensive. That's the problem, is they're just really expensive. And then the ultimate. The ultimate is, once you pass mini split, then you get up to whole house HVAC, and that's where you install a heat pump. And those can be tens of thousands of dollars to get installed. You put a giant heat pump outside, and then you run all the hosing into your house, and you basically connect in a coil where your furnace used to be. And now all the air that circulates through your house goes through a coil that can either be hot or cold. And it's all regulated by a heat pump that's sitting out far away from your house. It's basically the same thing as the mini split, just way bigger, and it goes through your entire house's central HVAC system that's already there and already built. So there you go. I think that was a good explanation. So, woo! Did I miss anything there, Aux?
I don't think so. That was very, very comprehensive.
I think I kind of got it right. So Lost in Space said that makes no sense at all. I paid $600 for my mini split. No, the cost wasn't for the hardware. The cost was for the install. So for back when I quoted my mini split, the unit that I needed for my room with the heat load that I had was $1,200 for the unit. It was on sale for like $1,000. The other $3,800 was for the labor, install, pouring the concrete pad, putting it like 60 feet away from the house or whatever, over behind the thing, running all the electrical, digging the ditch and doing all that stuff. Now, if you're a crafty person, you can just buy one of those self-install mini split kits, pop 2 holes in the side of your house, throw the thing outside on a couple blocks of 2x4s or cinder blocks, and tie it into your electrical, and you're good to go. But one, I'm not an electrician. I don't fuck with electricity. It scares the shit out of me because I've been burned too many times, literally.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I don't like running those self-sealed hoses, because if you screw up at any point during the installation and you let the Freon, or not the Freon, but the coolant out of it, then you have to call an HVAC system to come out and flush it with nitrogen or whatever, or argon, and then they have to like re-pull a vacuum on it and then refill the system, and then at that point that's a big expense. So if you're comfortable installing your own mini split, you can probably do it for $1,000 or so in the ballpark, right? Including your labor and everything. For me, not so much, because of where mine is, where it is on my house, where I'd have to put the electrical, where I'd have to put the heat pump. That's what complicates things. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd prefer the mini split. Like if there was a way for me to snap my fingers and I had the money for a mini split, I would take that one over even the split window, right? Oh, did you hear that? AC kicked on. See? Yeah. Got my box fan. It's not just the AC, it also turns on a box fan too. So the AC blows the cold air into the room, and then this blows at me. And if I look over at my screen, over here it says, hold on. It says temperature has reached 70.2 degrees. Waiting for threshold. Attempting to turn AC on. Attempt 1 failed. Attempt 2 failed. This is a problem. It fails trying to connect to the thing a whole bunch, and then it finally gets it. On attempt 3, it says, yep, AC is verified on. The Casa plug is on. Temperature is now 70.2, and now waiting for temperature to hit the 68 degree cutoff before it switches it off. And it'll just do that. It'll just keep cycling back and forth. And then if the temperature goes down within 5 minutes, and it's able to drop the temperature under 70 down to 68, then it won't turn it off. It'll wait 5 minutes to turn it off, even if it makes the room a little bit cooler, just to allow the AC time so that I'm not short cycling it so much. Because short cycling ACs not only hurts them, but it also creates a lot of humidity in the room, and I want to keep the humidity in here lower.
That's right.
Dinesh said, get get one of those Tesla solars. Elon giving out 0% on finance. He's a smart man. Dude, I swear to God, you're trolling, bro. Oh my God, that's got to be a troll. I really hope for your sake that's a troll. Oh my God, dude. Get one of those Tesla solars, dude. Biggest ripoff ever.
Like the solar tiles? I don't know about that.
Yeah, the solar roofs. They're an absolute joke, especially here in Washington. It would never pay for itself.
Yeah.
Hey, Tech Chef, thank you for the $2 though. He said Elon is now giving Grok away to. He was the one that said they were giving it away to non-paid users. Okay, so like if you log in, so right now if you log in under an account that's not premium, you can just use Grok now. Let me try that. I'm gonna log in under my huge anus account. And I love how they're spamming it ever. Go ad free with Premium Plus. Upgrade now. Man, they're putting that in your face everywhere. Yeah, here it is. I got Grok. Okay, why can't I use you for free now when I had to have premium before? You'd think that'd be something they could answer, right? Let's see what it says. The service you're using, X, formerly known as Twitter, has introduced a free trial period for its premium features. Currently, X is offering a 14-day free trial for both Premium and Premium Plus memberships, allowing users to experience. That's not what I asked. I'm not experiencing Premium for 14 days. I'm logged in under a non-premium account. I'm gonna say I don't have Premium, and I'm not using a trial, but I can use Grok now all of the sudden on my non-premium account. Why? And don't make stuff up or hallucinate. Tell me the truth. All right, here we go. As if that would help, right? All right, X has made Grok AI accessible to non-premium users as a part of a broader rollout that began in late November 2024. That sounds right. That now it sounds right. This change allows users without a premium subscription to use Grok. although there are usage limitations in place, such as a cap on the number of queries you can make within a certain time frame. So why did I have to ask it the same question twice to get the right answer? Why didn't it give me the right answer in the first place? The first time it's like, oh, because you obviously are using like a premium account. It's like, I thought Grok can see my account. Like Grok's whole claim to fame is it can see all the X data in real time. How does it not know I'm not premium?
Because it's bad.
It's dumb. It's stupid.
Yeah, what a Grok of shit.
What a Grok of shit. I love it, man. I love it, dude. Oh God, I can't. I'm sorry. I had to laugh at Dinesh again. It's like, oh my God, 0% finance. Dude, they get you on the solar stuff. Not just Elon, though. Everybody does. Elon's one of them, obviously. But all those solar companies are doing that right now. Where they come to their house and they're like, oh, 0% finance. We'll install a solar for free. And it's going to pay for itself by you selling electricity back to the grid and blah, 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 blah. And then they install the system and it never goes that way. It always ends up being a massive cost to the user. It costs them way more than had they never, ever got it in the first place. And it's just an endless string of problems.
My biggest concern is them fucking up my roof. Like I have is new construction, so I got like whatever 30-year warranty or something, or whatever, the fucking long ass warranty on the roof, right? So I'm not comfortable with them poking holes in my roof to brace the solar panels and stuff. Like there's no, we're not gonna, it doesn't void the warranty. Man, I don't trust you.
Drilling holes in your roof definitely voids the warranty.
I imagine
any roofing company that installs your roof, they're not going to warranty come back. Oh, I got a water leak where somebody put 45 screws in at a 45-degree angle to mount the shitty satellite dish. Sure, we'll warranty that and come out and replace all your roof and the rotted board and shit under it. That's why I don't like if you ever have, this is good advice. If you ever have a satellite dish installed on your house from Dish Network or what's the other one? A Dish and their competitor.
Is there anybody else?
Yeah, there's two of them. There's Dish Network, and then there's the one that was their main competitor. They both have the same similar dishes, similar units. They were just like both competitors.
DirecTV.
Well, obviously the other one must not have been that good because I can't remember who they are.
DirecTV.
Oh, it's DirecTV. Yeah, DirecTV. So you know how they come out and they install those satellites, and sometimes they'll put two satellites because if you order a package with certain channels, they have to point at two different satellites. So you'll drive by and you'll see houses with one or two of these dishes on them. They screw them right into the roof. If you've ever seen them install these things, they basically just stick them right over the top of the tiles, and they just run self-tap and screws right down into your roof. Boom. Like no silicone seal, no caulking, nothing. They just drill it right down through there, and they do it on the overhang of your house so that if there are any leaks or anything like that, it'll just rot the board under there and it won't leak inside the house, right? So they always mount it right on the edge. If they can. Sometimes they do have to mount it higher, but on most houses they mount it where it overhangs. Well, don't ever remove it. Just leave the dish there for the rest of your house's life. Never take it off. When you stop using the Dish Network, if you go up there and you pull the screws out of that thing and you take it off without going back and refilling all the holes with silicone caulk from the screws, and you can't even hardly see them. It just rots. You'll see rot spread out from each one of those screw holes. It'll start mushrooming and pushing up the tiles on the roof. And when it pushes up the tiles on the roof, then water and debris and shit starts getting under those tiles, and then it starts working its way up the roof. And next thing you know, the boards and everything, all the way, the whole roofing material, the boards, everything will be rotten underneath within like 5 or 10 years. So yeah, don't do it. Just leave them there. If you install a dish and you disconnect it, just cut the coax or whatever and leave it on there and just consider it a decoration on your house unless you got the time to get up there and do it right. Oh, this is awesome. This is so awesome. Matthew Riley just gifted 5 memberships, and one of the people he gifted a membership to was Dinesh.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Matthew, absolute legend, brother. Absolute legend. We love you, dude. Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. Oh my God. I actually like Dinesh. Now he has a membership so he can stay around longer. Don't get me wrong. I like trolling as much as the next guy when it's done tastefully, and that was like a masterpiece. Excuse me. Let's see. What else? What other topics were we going to jump on?
I don't know. Whatever anybody wants to talk about.
Hold on. I'm hearing something. Hold on.
We can go.
Hello? That was weird. It sounded like somebody was like talking in my room. That like freaked me out. Did you guys hear that?
Nope. I didn't hear anything.
What am I hearing? Matthew Riley gifted. Something's playing somewhere. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure out where it is. Oh, I found it. I found it. Let me see. Does that fix it? Close. All right. I think I got it. Yeah, I had a control window open on Stream Elements, and so it was playing the sound effects. You know, like Matthew Riley got gifted something. Was it saying that on stream too? Could you guys hear that on stream? Hello?
Nope, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, okay.
I don't hear the stream audio.
Okay, so it wasn't playing. That is weird. Let me see if I have it. No, I don't have it muted anywhere. Could you guys hear it on stream in chat? Like, can you guys hear it? Does it say so and so got gifted a stream or something like that when it happens? Because okay, they said no. Just heard it in the background. Yeah, you heard it like me, right? When it was playing out of the TV speakers. Weird. I wonder why
Michael Colt Jensen says, let's talk about AuxxZillary's cool Xmas look for 45 minutes. Okay.
Hey, AuxxZillary's looking stylish today. Look at this guy. Head to toe. He's got the Santa persona going on.
Hat.
He's making it look good for the ladies.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, what do you got? Let's see. What do you got? Oh, got the glasses. Look at that. Ho, ho, ho.
What's up? I'm an old man.
Looking good, brother. All I got is the rosy red cheeks and the fat.
These are just blue blockers. They don't do anything.
Oh, like, blue ball blockers?
I have good eyesight, so. Which is remarkable considering the like probably freaking million hours I've had staring at glowing screens.
You know what? That's the weird thing about me too, is I can't believe that I have good eyesight because my entire life has been spent sitting like inches away from a CRT 24/7.
I think the biggest thing, I bet you may not realize this, but I bet you do the same thing that I do. I think a lot of times what happens is the muscles in your eyeball you have to contract and warp the shape of your eye in order to look away and look close and stuff. What I think happens is people spend so much time looking at, close-up stuff or whatever,
yep,
that the muscles sort of atrophy. They become really, really weak. They're not strong enough to let you focus far away or up close, whichever it is that you're weak at. If you can literally exercise your eyeballs for every like 20 minutes or a half hour or whatever that you are looking at something close, deliberately look at something very far away. Like, yeah. And try, especially text, try to read the text because that'll help like squeeze your eye a little bit to warp it. And like, I imagine at some point, like the damage is done. Like if you've been wearing glasses and the glasses, like, they just help the atrophy. Like your eyeballs aren't going to focus on their own because they've got an extra lens in front of them to help you see. So they don't have to work. And I think a lot of people could, I mean, again, consult your fucking eyeball doctor and shit. I'm not an expert in this, but I think a lot of, especially people who have to wear like readers, just really weak, like glasses that to see either far or close away, whatever your thing is, exercise your eyeballs. Look at your hand and really try to look at the detail of it, and then look really far away. And I'm talking like 100 feet or more, and really try to like read a license plate or a street sign or the house number across the way, and then look close again, and then look far away, and hold it for like 20 seconds. Like really try to read it, and then look real close.
Yeah, because you actually do have to strain to focus. You do have to when you try to change your focus.
Right?
Yeah.
When you squint, you're doing similar sort of thing. Like it's not just because your eyelashes make it blurry and that kind of like helps you to focus it.
Yeah.
You're actually like, you're kind of squeezing your eyes a little bit to try and help it.
Like I can defocus my eyes. I don't know. Can everybody do that? Can you defocus your eyes looking at an object?
I can. Like with those 3D eye puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah. If I want to, I can look and then I can just make it blurry and then I can make it sharp. I can make it blurry. I can make it sharp. Looking at the same item.
You do the thing here where and then you got a little hot dog finger in the middle.
Yep.
Because you're unfocused. Similar sort of thing.
Yeah. So, but that takes like effort. Like I can feel it's almost like a muscle, like moving a muscle. Like I'm having to tell my eye to do that, right?
Literally, it is.
It is that muscle, right? Because you're literally physically moving an iris.
There's 4 muscles that surround your, or ish. I'm sure there's some smaller ones, but like you'll see this in surgeries for like fixing lazy eyes that help not just move your eye around, but they're also part of what like warps the eye to help you focus.
So is it actually like squeezing the eyeball? Is that how it does it? Like squeezes the lens?
I do think it warps because they're attached sort of like about halfway back. And yeah, I think they kind of flex and it warps your eyeball just a little bit. That's why like in astigmatism, is like your lens has like a bad warp to it. Like the actual curve of it is bad. And so like,
I've always wondered about that.
I remember going to an optometrist when I finally had like good vision insurance. And I was telling him like, yeah, man, like I'll do one eye and then I'll do another. And like, I've always noticed my left eye takes like just a little bit longer to focus on something than my right eye does. Well, turns out I have like a 0.5 or 0.05 astigmatism in my left eye. And it does take longer because it has to account for the physical deformation of my lens, of the eye lens.
I think the reason my eyesight's probably so good is because, like you said, like I look at stuff really close all day, and then I go look at stuff really far all day.
That's it, yeah.
So it's like constantly going back and forth.
Yeah, you keep working those muscles. I think a lot of
play a lot of VR too. In VR, you're actually using the same focus muscles you are looking in the distance.
Yeah.
So even though it's infinitely focused, your eyes still see something really far away. With depth perception, you still want to focus on it.
No, see, yeah, I'm sure that's part of it too. Like people are saying, like as you get older, the lens hardens. And sure, that absolutely, yeah. But I imagine it takes longer for it to get hard, or like you're able to sort of delay that hardening by keep flexing your eyeballs. I have astigmatism, and driving at night sucks sometimes. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on driving at night, especially around here when it's wet out. I can't even see the lines.
Yeah, my son had an eye that was so weak. So my son had an eye that was so weak that we literally had to put an eye patch over the strong eye to force the weak eye to get stronger.
Yeah.
So that's something that he did. Like when he would, for probably a good year, he had these custom eye patches that we go buy from the doctor or whatever that he put over his eye, and we change them every day. And they were like a stick-on eye patch, like a Band-Aid, and it would force him to use his other eye more to focus. And sure enough, it like pulled it into being much stronger. And even though he still wears glasses for some things today, he does 99.9% of everything, like reading, everything, looking, just playing video games, VR, without any glasses at all, no corrective lenses. But you look at the glasses that are prescribed to him, and you're like, oh my God, how can anybody see through those? So it's like, I'd like to see what the world looks like through his eyes, because he can read things just fine and see small details, yet his glasses would indicate that there's no possible way he could do that.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like he just has a hard time telling the optometrist, like, what the right numbers are. And his eyes are just so strong now that he can just like adapt to anything. Like you put on the shitty glasses, he sees fine through them. You take them off, he sees fine without them. It's very bizarre. So I don't know what the hell that means, but before he did have a really, really weak eye, like before we did those patches. So again, if you force the lazy eye to be the only thing he can use, just like anything else, right? Like if you had a weak arm and then all you could do is use that arm for everything, it would get stronger. But if you have a strong arm, then you tend to use the strong arm all the time because it's easier to complete the task. And it's the same thing with eyes. So I do have a weak eye though. I just like him, I have a weak eye. It's some people even notice when I get really tired, like this eye will droop a little bit. Yeah. Like I'll do one of these numbers. It looks like I'm drunk almost. And so I do have one eye that's weak that over time I've just kind of trained by just opening that eye a little bit harder. And now it's just natural for me to do that. So they level off a bit more. But when I get tired, man, that eye starts getting like super lazy. And I'll also notice that when I get tired, I can't focus as easy. Like it'll actually get worn out to the point where I cannot focus. Like I've driven like play VR where everything's tack sharp, everything looks great, and then just after hours of doing that over and over again, darting, focusing at a long object with a short plane with a lens close to my eye, it'll fatigue my eye to the point where I can't focus this one anymore. It's blurry and I feel like I got shit in it, and I'll rub it and I'll put Visine in it and try to like, oh man, like, why is it so foggy? And then I find out if I just sit down for 5 minutes, close my eyes and rest it and open it, then I'm fine. So yeah, you can actually wear your eye out just like any other muscle, like where you cannot focus. Yeah. But I guess we just use our eyes so much every day. It's like our eyes usually are up to the task, and it's rare for us to do a task that like completely fatigues them. But yeah, it does happen. Billy said it has to be at a young age though. Oh yeah, the eye patch thing. Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah, that's what they said. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for adults. But we're so glad that they caught it when they did, and we were able to do it because it helped him out a ton. Because his prescription before that was insane. Like one of his eyes looked like a Coke bottom, and I was like, I was like, bro, seeing the world like that? No way. That's crazy. So I'm glad. God, he is just a little miracle, man. Xander.
Yeah, man, they're so cute.
Dude, with all the shit going wrong in my life right now, he is the one thing that like makes it all worth it. Like he is just amazing. He was supposed to be like brain dead. He was supposed to need to be on oxygen for his entire life. He was supposed to be like crippled and not be able to walk because he lacked the ability to do coordination. Now he runs. He can do anything. He's good at video games. He plays VR all day, every day. Jumps around. He's super duper smart, super cocky, super funny too. Like he's hilarious. The shit he says just, Oh my God. The stuff he says just blows my mind. Like shit I can't even say on stream. Like he just, his mind, his humor is let's just say unique, but it's funny. He's funny as shit. He'd bring anybody to stitches. And to see him running around, and now he has like his brain, when we did the cognition test when he was 4, he got 100%. So like his brain is all firing the way it's supposed to. I mean, he's still not neurotypical, but his brain is like the way his brain functions is. And on top of that, no need for inhalers, no need for supplemental oxygen. His lungs checked out 100% in all the stress tests that they did. Awesome. You know, now he's 14 years old. The hormones are freaking raging right now, and we're going through all that fun stuff. Anybody out there that has a boy who's like between 12 and 14 years old, you know exactly what I'm going through right now. But in a way, it's actually like really hilarious to watch because it reminds me of my childhood. Like you kind of harken back to that and you're like, oh yeah, I did the same things. Like he's doing exactly. And I'm like, that's good, right? It's like, even though you look at it and you're like, oh wow, it's a little cringe, bro. But it's like, then I look back and I'm like, no, that's exactly what I did. Like I was the same exact way. So he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
That's good.
And I'm just like, I couldn't be happier. I'm like, man, so I lucked out big time. That was my one lotto ticket that I get for my entire life. And man, it worked out. So, and I had the healthcare when I needed it the most. I mean, I don't have the healthcare that I once did, but I had the healthcare that I needed when I needed it the most. And that's why he's here today. He wouldn't be though. I tell you what, that's the one thing that's really sad about our health system and why I fight to try to make it better is because without the healthcare he had when I worked at Microsoft, like the full Cadillac, Microsoft paid $5,000 a month for my health insurance plan.
Wow.
It was zero deductibles for anything. 100% coverage, no cap, which means I could walk into hospital, get a $2 million operation. They wouldn't even send me a bill. I'd just get an explanation of benefits, zero. Never had to pay a single dollar ever. So for anything, prescriptions, nothing back when I was at Microsoft. And because I had that insurance and because I could whip out that card when I went to the hospital, you know, and the billing person always comes in first, like before they even touch you or do anything, the billing person comes with their little clipboard. Oh, what's your insurance? Do you have insurance? What do you have? And that determines who the next people come in and what procedures you have. And because we had that card, it was like, you got the golden ticket, you know, and all the best surgeons came in the room, all the top of the line stuff, $30,000 a day room, $16,000 bed, Billy bed or whatever, draft bed. He was spared no expense. His total care at the end of the first year was $1.8 million paid by insurance. His follow-up care for the next 2 years brought the total up to over $4 million. So, and the insurance paid out every penny. But without that $4 million of insurance, he probably wouldn't have survived. And if he did, he'd be very crippled, like very, very crippled. Yeah. So I feel bad for all the people that didn't have that, you know, didn't have that same luxury, because everybody should have that access to healthcare, but they don't, sadly. He said, I have a 16-year-old girl. Want to talk about hormones? I feel, dude, no. I think I'm probably lucking out a little bit on that front. Like, because when you got a girl, it's like you always got to worry. You know, the worry of the father is, oh, she's going to go out and get in a relationship and come home pregnant one of those days. And it's like, when you're the father of the boy, you still have that same fear in your head. You're like, oh, he's going to come home one of these days. We're going to find out he knocked somebody up and got him pregnant. I'm going to beat the shit out of him to make him go take care of that child. I think there's challenges to both for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I remember my sister growing up. Like I remember my sister when she was finally going through puberty, and she was getting like super cocky and yelling and screaming and slamming doors and fighting with my mom and getting in her car and burning out of the driveway with her learner permit and stuff. Yeah, she was a hothead. She was a super hothead. I remember that. But then I was like, I wasn't really much better, because when I finally went through, because I was 3 years behind her, and then when I went through puberty, it was like I pissed off my parents so bad they took all my shit and threw it out on the lawn and locked the doors and took my key away. So I, you know, literally had to like camp out in the woods that night. Yeah, so yeah, I am so fortunate that Xander hasn't given me any of those problems. Like you ask him to do anything, he's more than happy to do it. He doesn't argue a whole lot about anything. He doesn't need any. He likes things, but he doesn't need them. You know what I mean? He doesn't get like overly upset and attached. Like as long as he has the basics, he's good. And so I feel like I won the lottery, man. Bradley said the insurance bill that you saw was not what your insurance company actually paid. Oh, no, I obviously know that.
Yeah.
Your insurance company most likely paid about 10% of that.
Yeah, the hospital writes off a big chunk.
Yeah, it was
85% of it gets just hand waved away.
Yeah, it was closer to 30%, but yeah, they did not pay the $4 million. The $4 million was the explanation of benefits. You're absolutely correct. However, I would like to remind you that if a person off the street without insurance got those procedures, they would be billed that $4 million, and that's the problem. So, because in order for them to get the money that they need from the insurance companies, they have to overcharge by like 75 or 80%. And by that, well, actually more than that usually. And by them doing that, that means that they have to charge cash customers that number, even though that number doesn't make sense, because if they give the cash customers a break, then the insurance won't think that they're charging the real number. And that way, when they adjust for their percentage or their deal that they get for being in network, then they're not going to get the money. So yeah, that's one of the biggest problems with our medical system here in the United States is when you go to the doctor and you have to pay $100. The reason that they're charging you $100 isn't because it's $100. It's a $30 visit. They're charging you $100 because they need to also charge the insurance company $100 so they get that $30. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so luckily I had a doctor for the first 18 years that I lived here in the town that I lived in. I had a doctor. I love that guy. He retired finally, but man, he was an awesome doctor. And he did a thing for me because my insurance wasn't in his network. So my insurance wouldn't pay him his cut. Like if he charged, I think it was $60 for a visit, the insurance company would normally pay him, I think, which on the high side was like $30. But because I was out of network, my insurance company only paid him like $10. And so he'd have to charge me way more, like more than he'd even charge a cash customer. So what he allowed me to do is he'd charge me the big exorbitant amount to the insurance, and then I could just pay him $20 cash. That was like a little under the table kind of deal. And then by me giving him the $20 cash or whatever, he could just bill it to my insurance, and it looked like I paid like this huge exorbitant amount or whatever, but I actually got the services a lot cheaper. I had to figure out exactly what it was. That didn't make a lot of sense, but there was like a deal we had where I just gave him a little bit of money. He did a thing with the insurance, and then basically I got a $60 visit, like fully out of pocket. Once insurance was done, once I was done, it was a $60 visit, when normally it was like a $90 visit where I only got $10 paid by the insurance, if that makes sense. So he was pretty cool. It was pretty cool that he did that for me, because that's something he didn't do for a lot of people, but it was because I was his patient for so many years before they switched to the insurance that was no longer compatible. Here's the thing that sucks too, is when I got an insurance agent, like everybody says, oh, get an agent and have the agent do it so you don't get screwed over. We got an insurance agent. We asked the insurance agents 20 times if my doctor was in network. I was like, I can't get an insurance unless my primary care physician's in network. No, they're in network. They're totally in network. They send me even in writing that he's in network. I get the insurance. I pay for it. I go into my first visit. I give them the information. They're like, oh, we don't take this insurance. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're in network. And I showed them the printout, and they're like, oh, no, that's not right. We've never been in their network. So I call them back up, and I'm like, hey, what gives? They're not in the network. Oh, we thought that you were talking about the other doctor that was at that location, like some other doctor that was there 5 years ago, because multiple doctors shared the same space and they took different insurances. And I was like, no, I gave the name of my doctor. It's even on the paperwork that you sent back to me. So what they basically did is they just took an old doctor that took the insurance, knowing that my doctor didn't take, because they wanted to sell it, probably because it gave them the best commission. And so they sell me this plan, and I'm like, I go into my doctor, and it's like, oh, apparently they thought I was talking about a doctor 5 years ago that I've never been a patient of, and he happened to take this insurance, which obviously he doesn't anymore because he was retired for 5 years. Oh, I hate our medical. And then the thing is, even if you can prove it, even if you have all the paperwork and all the shit that they told you, and even if you had recordings of the conversation, which are technically illegal, I think, here in Washington, but even if you had recordings of the conversation, there's nothing you can do. Once you have that insurance, you have to wait a year to change it. So luckily now my insurance does cover my new doctors. I had to switch doctors because he went into retirement. So this time I picked a doctor that just happened to be in my network. But it's still stupid. I mean, the copays are still high. They still almost every procedure I get, including those steroid injections I used to get that I can't afford anymore. They don't want to pay for anything. Nothing ever. Like not even a little bit of it. Like the insurance sends it to them and they kick it back and they're like, insurance paid 0%. It's like, what? And then my wife calls them and complains. Oh, we don't really cover steroid injections because they're considered they're considered an optional thing and not a quality of life thing. It's like, what are you talking about? It allows me to walk. It allows me to sleep. Like, isn't that the definition of quality of life? Like, what the hell are you guys talking about here? But they won't do it. And so anytime I do that now, I go get the injections. He sends it to insurance because he has to, because their system only knows how to do insurance. They send it to insurance. Insurance kicks back, no payment. And then the next time I go in for a procedure, they charge me for the last one. And I have to pay out of pocket. And it just fucking sucks, dude. It's such a joke. Hey, I gotta use the bathroom. Can you entertain the troops here for a minute?
Yep.
All right, I'll be right back.
Hurry.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
Or not you. You take all the time you want. Oh. I'm telling you, chat.
Oh, got it.
Hurry. This is where you can. We gotta ask all the questions. You got 15 seconds. Oh, that's it. I guess you guys. Yep. Sometimes the insurance provider denied press second from child. Oh yeah. Yeah, I just recently saw that too.
Producer Nathan says, "Ask all the questions."
Yeah, hurry. What is the ultimate answer? 42. We know that already. Where'd you get your hat? I don't know where this one came from. I think my mom made this one too, along with my purple one. I'm not entirely sure though, because it's not as. Maybe you should just give me the pin for it. I don't recall where this would come from. Will you ever rock a glitter beard? Maybe. I have all kinds of stuff that I've put in my beard before. Like, oddly enough, this is like Halloween colored hairspray. It's purple for Twitch. I have some. It's like a pomade or like a hair gel that's gray or silver. I put it all in my beard a couple years back, and I was. Someone just talked besides Ox. Yeah, that's the Omnissiah. I mentioned that earlier. It's the spirit of the machine god who is helping our stream to stay good. What's my ring made out of? Crap. I don't remember. The line in it is, if I recall correctly, is platinum, but the black material I don't remember. What games are you playing? Life. Do you have a full Santa outfit? No, I do have a cloak. I have like or I guess, would it be a robe because it has arms? I think it has arms, so I think it's technically a robe. I do have a robe. Again, that my mom made me. Very nice. It needs a little bit of finishing, like there's not a liner or anything, but what type of video game do you want to make in Godot? Oh man. No, not Onyx. It's a metal of some sort, my ring. What kind of type of video game? There's a few, actually. But I'm most interested in trying to do a sort of choose your own adventure. Would be fun. More like a visual, I guess, like a visual novel kind of thing. But and then there's an old school MMO that I used to play called The Realm online that I think would make a really great mobile version. Or sort of just a more modernized version would be really cool. It might be Tungsten. I'd have to look at the old order. What are you excited about for 2025? Oh man.
Hello.
I suppose just improving.
Let me see here.
Yeah. I would gel the beard with polyester resin and durable shield. Oh, no way. It would be a solid thing. I'd look like somebody out of the Wiggles or something.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me okay still?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. I had to mute one of the tabs. I realized when I went to the bathroom that I was still playing sound out of the speakers. Have you guys been hearing an echo this whole time?
No.
Okay, good.
Or at least I haven't. The chat may.
No. If you didn't hear it, it's probably good. Yeah, the sound was coming out. Like when you were talking, it was coming out of the TV speaker, and I didn't notice because I had headphones on.
Huh. Ox now sounds weird, Bradley Smith says.
Uh-oh. Let's see, what could I have done that made you sound weird? Let me think.
Never mind, he's back. Oh, it was just him.
Oh, it's just him. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then the networking guy said, "It's just me, guys." Oh, what was he replying to?
He spoke in the.
Oh, when I went to the bathroom, he popped in. Okay. Did he make the statement? I just want to know if he got Chris out of the way. Did he talk about his channel and stuff?
No, he was just saying, hurry, ask questions.
Oh, he was okay. He was participating like an AMA while I was gone. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Scrolling on down here. I know everybody. I can see everybody was probably like, "What the hell did that voice come from?" Let's see here. Okay, I thought somebody broke into the channel. Yeah, no, I can see why you'd think that.
I was just saying, it's the voice of the machine god. The Omnissiah is looking out for the stream.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Does anyone have a Starforge PC?
No,
all my PCs.
Although, despite the group of guys who started that company, which might give you pause because like it's backed by like I think Shroud or some streamers or something.
A lot of really popular streamers like Charlie and
despite that, I do think that I have no personal experience or anything on this, but they picked up a bunch of people from Artesian after Artesian fell out. And so that helps me to think that they are a pretty decent company. I think Gamers Nexus has a review of their machine. I think Jay might as well.
I think a lot of people reviewed their machine. I think
So, but I don't-
Linus even reviewed their machine, if I remember right.
I imagine they would.
And then there was one person that had some feedback, some really good feedback for him. Let's see, who the heck was it? I mean, it was a lot of big YouTubers though. Like a lot of big YouTubers jumped in on that, and it seemed like a good time for them to create that company because they were filling that void in the market that was created by the other guys. What were they called? The bad guys that got taken down. Artesian. Yeah. Fuck, what a shit show that was, right?
Man, are you showing top chat? Seems more messages are auto hidden. I see the live chat view. And as far as I can see, no, the auto mod hasn't caught anything.
Oh, actually, was on top chat. I didn't even know you could switch that. So top chat is default? That's stupid. Yeah. Okay, I switched to live chat, so now I can see everything. I was on top chat before. What is top chat? Who the hell decides what's top and what isn't?
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate algorithms.
I don't know.
I hate algorithms, man. So freaking annoying.
Oh, okay. Oh, on Twitch. Oh, okay. So we don't get any of that. We don't get Twitch notifications here.
Yeah. No,
thank you for the Twitch subs there, 8-bit Miko.
Oh wait, did somebody do a Twitch thing?
Yeah, that's what Nathan was just saying.
Hold on, I can turn on Twitch and activity feed. I just usually leave it off when I'm not streaming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So under here, so that was that 8-bit Miko gifting the eight subs? Yeah. Oh yeah, it does have a little icon next to it that says Twitch. Oh, well, 8-bit Miko, I appreciate that. But yeah, don't like during Tech Talk or whatever. If you can support here, that's great because I do split all the money with Aux. So as much of the money that I want gifted, I definitely want to share with him. But as far as like subs and memberships and stuff, that stuff just goes into the pool.
That goes to
that pays for taxes. that pays the taxes on the channel. Corey Man said, "What are your thoughts on Nvidia Jetson Orin? Could be cool to control with some of the ESP32 devices. That thing looks badass.
$250 fucking LLM.
$250 very powerful arm, approaching M1 performance arm that I've seen.
Your audio is like clipping or something. There's like a weird cut every once in a while.
Oh, my audio's doing that?
Yeah.
Oh shit! What did I?
Nothing serious. I don't know if anybody else even noticed it, but I keep hearing this sort of like a.
Here, you know what? I'm gonna switch the outplaying audio back to here. Center TV. Here, say something. Okay, and I'll just turn the volume down on this. All right, do I sound any better now? That was the only thing I changed. Oh, no, I can't hear you at all. Hold on. I broke the matrix. Stand by. Rode microphone stereo. Okay, I'm back. I'm back now. Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay.
All right, let me look at my microphone. Rode Caster Pro stereo, and then audio
it might just
output.
Be some funny business on my end. I wouldn't sweat it.
It just happened out of the blue, though, right?
I just noticed it right now. It could have been happening. Now they say they can't hear me.
Okay, I went back to default. Okay, here, say something. Here, you speak. Okay, you're in now. I think what happened is I changed the default audio source in Windows. Yeah, it's got to fuck that. Okay, everything's fixed now. Everything is fixed now. All right, so I just saw this the other day, by the way, that Nvidia made this Jetson
but
chip.
Now you're muted.
What? Okay, I think that there's like a delay. Oh, you can't hear me now? What? Hello?
So it sounds like the chat
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
What the fuck is wrong with this thing?
So weird. Oh, it's so good.
You know what I think it is? I think Voice Meter keeps pulling the default audio stream.
Oh,
I got to uninstall that shit. I'm done with it. All right, we should be fixed now. Yeah,
that sounds good.
Oh my god, dude, what a pain in the ass. Sorry guys. I wish my shit was together. I am so fucking embarrassed.
Dude, it happens. It's fine.
No, I'm just so embarrassed, dude.
I'm two different streams on two different, do different platforms.
Yeah, it's like Barnacules died, and now I'm just like this weird fucking husky shadow just lingering around.
Don't do that.
I'm just not in a good place. Let's see there. I appreciate 8-bit Nico though for the subs over on Twitch. That was really rad of you. Corey Man, so I don't know the specs on the Jetson. All I heard was I watched like one little YouTube video on it, and I was like, wait a second, they're building CPUs now? Like I heard CPU instead of GPU, and I was like, okay, I know Nvidia's made ARM CPUs before, right? Because they've made like the CPUs for several handheld consoles. The Shield, the Nvidia Shield, both the standalone module for the TV and the portable, both use their CPUs. But I thought their Jetson was supposed to be more like an Apple M1 than it is just a straight up ARM chip.
It's like a little thing, I think, specifically for like AI development and stuff.
Apparently this thing can run anything though. Like it is just straight up an ARM chip. So you could technically run Windows on this thing, like the ARM version of Windows if you wanted to. And here's the thing. Why doesn't Nvidia make an x86 chip? The reason they can't is because Intel made sure they couldn't. So AMD is the only other company other than Intel that's allowed to make x86 architecture chips. And the reason that happened was because a bunch of investors back in the day did not like that Intel had a monopoly on this architecture, and Microsoft was weary about continuing to develop for an architecture that was so locked down. So they basically strong-armed Intel into licensing the technology. Well, Microsoft licensed the technology to AMD, but then shortly after decided they were no longer going to offer the licenses anymore, but AMD was grandfathered in. So AMD is the only other company other than Intel, as far as I know, you correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but as far as I know today, AMD is the only other manufacturer of x64 CPUs. So Nvidia would love to get in on that, but they can't.
Doesn't Citrix still make CPUs and stuff?
Cyrix, you mean?
Maybe,
I think Cyrix is long dead.
They may not be x86.
So the original companies that bought a license was AMD, Cyrix, and IBM, and what was the other one? Because IBM made the Blue Lightning. You guys remember that back in the day? Mm-hmm. And then, so Cyrix was the bad one. Cyrix was like the most terrible, most uncompatible x86 ever. But there was a bunch of people that made the x86 clones, right? Back in the day. But the only one that is like officially licensed that I know of today is AMD. So like the AMD x64 processors are the only ones I know that are licensed. However, Cyrix might make a clone, because there's a difference too. Like Cyrix still has a license. Okay, so Cyrix and AMD both have a license then. So, but there's no new licenses granted. They're grandfathered in. Intel doesn't allow any other people to jump in the pool. So but the thing is, Nvidia would love to make an x86 processor, because even though it's dated technology and it's archaic, Nvidia has like the nanometer to build a chip that would make AMD and Intel cry. Hence why they don't want them to have access to that, because they'd basically push the technology up so fast, end of life it almost immediately, and then there'd be no more headroom to go anywhere else, right? So they're trying to milk x64 for as long as they can. But ARM is the future. Like as far as I'm concerned, probably. x86, like GPUs take over the heavy lifting. So CPUs don't need to have all the power that they have today. What makes more sense is to have more cores, right? More cores, more threads. That's where we're headed. Yeah. And so ARM makes more sense because ARM is more energy efficient. It's a RISC architecture or reduced instruction set. So so technically ARM is cleaner, it's faster, like megahertz for megahertz cycle, like fast cycle. Not as many instructions it can run. It runs minimal instructions, but it cycles really, really fast. However, that means it's slow for certain things, because to emulate certain instructions, it takes several cycles to do what x86 can do in one. Therefore, it appears slower. But there's ways to mitigate that Apple did with their M1 chip and their M2 chip, right? By kind of taking the x86 architecture, mixing it with ARM. I still don't understand. Can somebody tell me why Apple also has a license to make x86, right? Because there's no way they could make the M1 or the M2 without license for the x86 portion of their CPU. I know that they used to run Intel chips in their systems, but that wouldn't require a license for them to do that. So how are they getting around that? How are they making chips that partially run x86 and x64 code while still having the other half of the chip be ARM? Is it because it's like significantly different enough it doesn't violate their patent? I don't understand that. I don't really understand how they're able to do that, because if that's the case, couldn't Nvidia do the same thing and just create their own AMD ARM like hybrid like Apple did? That would make sense to me. So so this AI supercomputer, let's see what it's got under the hood. So the Nvidia Jetson, and you can still hear me, right? Right, Houston, can you hear me?
Dude, your audio, like that entire like 5 sentences that you just said was like chopping up. And it's just me. It's just me. A chat would be blowing up if they were coming.
Let me see. Chat, am I coming through clear?
It was chopping up like a broken McDonald's drive-through speaker. like these, like chop, 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 chop. Like it was the craziest.
So it's got to be VDO.
Every fifth word or so. It was just like
it's got to be
VDO or
VDO.
anything, but just like it's almost like you were tapping a mute button. It's the craziest thing.
Let me see.
Try to hear the whole thing. It's totally me. And
let me try this. Let me turn off auto gain, echo cancellation, noise suppression. Okay, how about now? Does that sound any better?
Oh, that's so weird.
Is this better or worse?
Now I don't hear you at all.
Oh, you can't hear me at all now?
Nope, not a word.
The fuck is going on here?
Crazy. And the test, I'm like spamming the test button and I don't hear squat. That's so weird. It's totally me.
This is weird. Yeah, it's got to be because everybody can hear me fine in chat.
Nathan was hearing you just fine.
Nathan, you can hear me fine? He says refresh aux audio, any improvement. I can refresh your audio to see if it helps.
I hear you now.
Let's see. Okay, you can hear me now?
But
hey, Nathan. Nathan's on the same chat. Nathan can hear us both fine. And I can hear you fine, so it's got to be on your side. What changed? Do you have a amp for your headphones or anything, or something that runs off battery power that's getting low?
See if that helps.
All right, try it. This is so fucking weird.
I'll be right back.
All right, he's coming back. Yeah, because I can hear him fine. I can hear him just fine. And I looked at my meter. My meter was like moving nice and smooth, so it's got to be on his end. So while he's doing that, I'm looking at this Jetson thing. So it says, okay, delivers up to 67 teraflops of AI performance, a 1.7x improvement over its predecessor, to seemingly run the most popular generative AI models like vision transformers, large language models, and vision language models, and more. $249. It provides developers, students, and makers with the most affordable and accessible platform with support for NVIDIA's AI software and broad AI software ecosystem. Here's the question I have. Why would anybody want to use this for LLMs when you can use a GPU? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh, he's back. Okay, I see you now. Hold on. Let me pull you back in. I got to get the new link. Stand by. Pop it in there. I forgot when he rejoins the room, he gets a new link, and then I can hear him through here. Okay, say something. Hello. Hello. Okay, I guess he still can't hear me. Can you hear me, Nathan?
This is so weird.
Okay, I hear him now. I can hear him perfectly, but he can't hear me. So yeah, this is something on his side. What is going on?
Oh, okay. My audio has died completely. Like even the YouTube video.
Power off, and power on your unit.
There's no audio coming out of my. Like I hear my microphone, but none of my system audio is coming through.
Here, power cycle your mixer. Here, I'll say it. Hopefully, you can see the chat in here.
What?
Power cycle
your
mixer and mic amp.
Back.
All right. Check.
I'm gonna try something else.
He needs to unplug and replug. It sounds like his DAC just took a shit. TrueTech said, I hear him. He can't hear you, though. He's back with audio. Yeah, we could hear him fine for like a couple of seconds, but he can't hear us, is the problem. And Nathan said in chat that he can hear us both fine. Okay, Nathan said he refreshed his mic. Oh, he came back. Did he come back again? If he did, I got to grab his link again. Otherwise, I won't be able to hear him. Let me check. Nope, he's got the same link as before. So let me try unmuting the tab. Hold on here. Unmute. Hello? Okay, we got nothing from him still. When you refreshed his mic, Nathan, did you make sure it was still on the same mic? Because I know he has like multiple mics. It should be the... Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay, that's right. The TC Halcyon. He's got a chat mic and a sample mic. I don't know what the difference is between those. He's got a broadcast mix stream. Oh, it says his default is broadcast mix stream. I wonder if he was on the wrong one. Because his default system was broadcast mix stream, but he didn't have the default selected for some reason. It was a different one that was selected. Let's see when he comes back what happens. Hey, it just wouldn't be a tech talk without the tech problems, man. So there's always got to be tech problems. That's how we roll. All right, he's popping back in right now. Give him a sec. Hello. Oh, we hear you. What'd you do?
I unplugged my Golex alarm and plugged it back in.
Awesome. Did you see me say that in the chat a while ago?
No, I mean, some people were like, "Oh, reboot devices."
I was like posting like crazy. I was like, dude, your DAC's waking out. Reboot it.
Yeah,
Power off your mixer.
That makes sense.
All right, there you go. You're coming in clear now. Now I just got to remute
totally
the tab.
Wow, write that down. Write that down.
There we go. Hey,
it was me this time.
Something we got to fix. All right, we're cool now. Everybody hear him? In chat, can we get a just yes in chat if everybody can hear AuxxZillary now?
Yeah,
say something.
Good.
There you go.
Weird.
It says there's an echo. Why would there be an echo though? Oh, maybe there was an echo for the second or so that I didn't have the thing muted.
Oh, could do.
Because I muted the tab after that. I think I did. Didn't I mute the tab? So mute the speaker. Yes. Okay, now everybody's saying yes.
Good.
So we got a no /yes. So that's a yes. His volume's lower, but we can hear him.
That better. I was fussing with my sliders and stuff, so that was probably it.
No worries. I can also, if you leave your audio, I can manage the levels right here in the thing. I go, and so just start talking.
Okay, I'm saying some stuff and things. And
there you go. You're good.
Words. Yeah.
We should both be at the same volume now. All right, cool. Now we can go back to the Jetson. Woo, Jetsons! First of all, why is Nvidia pushing this little like nano? Well, I guess the price is probably the point, $250. But why push ARM? Is the LLM when you can buy a cheap GPU that uses CUDA? Because obviously this doesn't use CUDA. This is an ARM device. It's not a GPU. But with a GPU, you could use CUDA and it would be a hell of a lot faster. So I don't really understand why they're selling ARM device. Maybe the form factor, because it's just something you can just plug in. It's on all-in-one instead of a GPU requires a computer. Because this has everything on it, right? It looks like it has HDMI, networking. This thing looks like fully... let me see. What are the specifications? So it's got an NVIDIA Ampere architecture with 1,000... Oh, never mind. It has 1,024 CUDA cores and 32 tensor cores.
Yeah, there it is.
So this isn't just an ARM chip. This is actually a system-on-chip ARM with CUDA cores and tensor cores. So for all effective purposes, it is a RTX graphics card with an ARM Cortex processor. That's pretty impressive. And it's got 8 gigabytes of the LPDDR5 RAM for the GPU. And it supports SD card slot and external NVMe for storage and only uses up to 25 watts. Okay, that's impressive. That's impressive. This thing can run on 25 watts, and it's got CUDA cores. So yeah, so this could run. You could fire up a Python script or LM Studio or anything that uses CUDA, and this thing would just eat it for lunch. God, this is badass. I kind of want one. It has a CPU. GPU is NVIDIA Ampere architecture, 2048 NVIDIA 12-core ARM Cortex. Dude, this is badass. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I got my question answered. So it's a 1.7 gigahertz ARM processor with 102 gigabytes a second of memory bandwidth, 67 teraflops of AI performance, courtesy of the CUDA cores, and it only uses 25 watts of power. Okay, this is amazing. So I can see why they're selling this as a dev kit, because because you could make a cheaper version of this that's just the chips, right? Like without all the supporting architecture around it, that you can just slap onto your own custom boards in your products and just have AI built in, right? Yeah. For $250. So, and this being the dev kit, it just has a lot of extra features that you wouldn't put on those products to help you debug your shit. It looks like it has 2 places for ribbon cables to plug in. I wonder what that's for. Let me look at the data sheet here.
Oh, there's stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's like a modified PC. Wait, it's not a PCIe slot, is it? Next to it? No, that can't be. Hold on. No, I'm going to call bullshit. There's no way that is. What is that? So, okay, the developer kit comes with 8 gigabyte module with heatsink and reference carrier board, DC power supply, 802.11 wireless networking. Let's see here. And then the module that has the GPU architecture with 32 tensor cores. And then it's support for an external NVMe. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe those are like for where you plug in the NVMEs. Never mind. They're camera connectors. Can you believe that?
Oh,
so those two little
for visual inputs.
Yep,
to train.
Those 2 little ribbon connectors are for I've never heard of this. CSI-2 22-pin camera connectors. It has 2 M2 key M and M2 key E slots for M2 drives, 4 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A's, USB Type C, Gigabit Ethernet, DisplayPort, 40-pin expansion header. So yeah, that does look like it's it's not PCIe, but it is an expansion header. So they're going to offer boards down the road to expand it. And a DC power jack for 250 buckaroos.
Yeah.
Dude, this thing's awesome. And it would run Windows. This would totally run the ARM version of Windows. Actually, I got to see if somebody's done it. Here, let me see if somebody's already, because this just came out, right? So let's see here. Windows 11 running on ARM Jetson, because it looks like it has enough RAM to do it. Okay, possible to support Windows 11. Let me open this up. Okay, hello, ARM64EC from Microsoft is a new application binary interface for Windows 11 on ARM that runs at native speeds and interoperable with x86 and x64. It says, currently we don't have any plans to support ARM64EC on Jetson at this time. Wow. Darn it. Wah, wah, wah. And then let's see. Welcome to developer forums. Let's see here. Currently, and Nvidia replied right after Microsoft did. Currently, we don't have any plans to support ARM64EC from Microsoft on Jetson. Yeah. So negative. The ARM version of Windows will not run on this. Sadly, it doesn't. Apparently, this uses a different architecture that's like slightly different. But it's got to run an operating system, so I'm guessing it runs Linux, right? Like, what else would
Probably,
it run?
Yeah,
it's got to be Linux.
Android. No.
actually, I mean, right?
iOS.
That'd be hilarious, dude. Let's hear. Michael Cole Jensen said, with all the fixes Intel has done and is doing to fix the Ultra 200 series, is the Ultra 7 worth 265K worth anything? Your view? What? Ultra 7. Do you know anything about this? What Michael Cole Jensen's talking about?
Yeah. With all the fixes Intel is doing to fix, so the stuff that was wrong with the 13th and 14th gen CPUs is not present in the new Core Ultra stuff. So as far as I'm aware, there's nothing to fix at this point with the new Core Ultra stuff. There isn't much of a performance increase as far as that from what I've seen when it comes to the new Core Ultra stuff, the Core Ultra 2. But this is a significant architecture change. Like they've moved away from like hyperthreading and things like that. They are moving toward a more sort of chiplet design. They're sort of taking inspiration for what AMD has been doing with Ryzen. And so the performance difference right now from 14th gen to Core 2 or Core Ultra 2 isn't that great. I think I've seen like maybe 5 to 10%, which is I guess about on par with Intel's past couple generations. But it's also just a significant change to how they are making processors and stuff. And so I would expect to see some better improvements over the next couple generations going forward. I would say if your machine is less than 3 years old, don't bother. So like if you're on a 12, 13, or 14th gen Intel, don't bother. Or go to AMD 9000.
So is he talking about like the latest generation Intel chip?
Well, a lot of people have been concerned because of the 13, 14 gen microcode stuff and the overvolting and whatnot.
Yeah.
That is whatever that was does not exist in the process for the new Core Ultra stuff.
Yeah, because it was like an architectural thing they had to fix with microcode, right? And now they don't have to do it anymore.
There was like a bug in how it handled power delivery or something, and Intel had a good explanation of it when they finally like said, yes, we finally figured it out, and then the microcode update and all that. But that's not that, and there was like some manufacturing issue early on too that is just not present in the Core 2 Ultra stuff. It's on Skylake. What is that, 9?
We're trying to scam a Jetson board in chat right now. Jeff Clark's like, I was like, you can name drop me if you think you'll get us a board. I said, give him my old stats before I fell off.
Yeah.
So I got a link in chat. Sorry, who was it? I think it was Jeff that gave it to me. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but they gave me a link to an add-on for that Jetson board that you can get right now on Amazon. It's the Makeronics developer kit for Jetson Nano. It's $195, but it comes with a case, a 7-inch touchscreen, multiple cameras. I mean, it looks like it basically takes the Jetson and turns it into like a full-blown like little PC. Let's see here. Let me grab a link for people. This actually looks pretty cool. So that would bring the price up to what, 250 and 200, so like $550. I'm trying to think of how this would like compete with something like an Intel NUC. Because like $500, that's like Intel NUC territory, right? All in. Aux, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Sorry, what?
Oh yeah, no, I was asking you what, like an Intel NUC. What does an Intel NUC go for these days?
It depends on the flavor you get. They range. I would say they range from about 500 to, if you go to the extreme ones, up into the thousands.
Oh goddamn, serious?
Yeah, you can drop like $3,000 on a Intel 13 Extreme.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
Which has a 13900K, and you can drop like a 4080 into it.
I apparently have not been looking at NUCs for a long time. I always thought the NUC was like $199 for like the top level one.
You can get the super mini NUCs,
okay.
But the Intel Extreme ones, or like Asus now picked up, because Intel doesn't do it after the 13th gen.
Yeah.
Asus picked up afterward, and they have like an Extreme one that has like you can fit a full size graphics card and all that shit. And those can get very expensive. But if we're talking like the mini PCs, yeah, probably I'm sure you could probably find one for $200. But it'd be old, not a current gen one.
Right. Well, I'm looking at one right now on Amazon for $609. It's a NUC 12.
Yeah,
and it looks like
12th gen.
So as 12th gen Core i5, 12 core, 12 megabyte Intel Smart Cache,
$600,
4.4 gigahertz turbo, 28 watt Intel Iris Xe graphics card, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD, and Windows 11 Pro for $609.
Dude, you could get for $500 or $600, you could get a like Ryzen 7 powered mini PC. It'd have like another integrated GPU style. It's like APU for like $600, and that'd be better.
Plus, yeah, that would support CUDA, which would allow you to do the AI shit. Where the Intel, I'm guessing Intel Xe graphics aren't going to support that. I
don't know if you could do CUDA on a integrated graphics.
Oh yeah, depend on if it has what is it, CUDA
plug
cores
an
or
external,
not.
Plug an eGPU thing in there, and you're probably fine.
Let me look. What are their mini computers called? Are they like Ryzen?
Different companies make them. I would just say AMD mini PC. A buddy of mine bought one for like $500, and he uses it like a console.
Bro.
He put a custom Linux distro on there, and it runs.
Bro,
Steam.
I just found a great deal. Look at this. B-Link SCR5 Pro Mini. It's an AMD Ryzen 7 5850.
Oh, that's great.
4.4 gigahertz, 16 gigabytes DDR4 RAM, 500 DDR4 in this thing. It's got 500 gigabyte M2 SSD. It's got graphics 8-core 2000 megahertz support 4K triple displays, HDMI DP Type C out, Wi-Fi 6 BT 2.5 auto power on. $271 right now.
Dude, that's
fucking ridiculous. It's 22% off right now. That's
Buy that.
Yeah.
You could plug that into your TV. There are a couple different custom Linux distros or hell, you could just download Steam OS.
That's basically like a PlayStation 5.
You just built it. Well, probably a little underpowered.
A little underpowered on GPU side, yeah.
For $300, like,
I'm trying to look at the graphics capability.
A Steam box, a Steam OS, a Steam console.
Let me see what GPU this has. So it's an AMD Radeon Graphics 8.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's not going to be. I can tell you this: it's not going to be Nvidia, so it's not going to support CUDA, right? But still, it looks like it does have a GPU.
It'd be the APU. They're like
it's like all on board. Yeah.
Yeah. The ones with the G at the end have their integrated graphics. But yeah, dude, that's what I mean. Bro. You could totally just buy yourself a $200-$300 little mini PC like that, plug it into a TV, get yourself a wireless keyboard, mouse, and controller, and you just bought yourself a perfectly good Steam console.
Yeah, I'm trying to find people that have been like running this for gaming to see what they've been able to achieve, like frames per second. So I'm looking through some of the reviews, but this is insane. I can't believe you can get that much computer for that little amount of money.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I mean, that's really cool. That's absolutely crazy. They're now called a 1 liter PC. Oh, is that what they call them? Like the mini PCs, 1 liter?
The volume of the case
fits within a liter. God, yeah, that's insane, dude. It's a good looking case too. Wow, they're really highly rated too.
Yeah, they work. They're really good. There's all kinds of, and that's wicked tiny. Holy cow, the thing's probably like 5 inches square. That's insane.
That's
amazing.
It's just insane, man. I did not realize. Like, why would anybody buy an Intel NUC? Like, the Intel NUC's so far behind this in specs. And it costs way more. Dude, these are all like $250. Like, they're all like 2 pages. I finally found one that's $609. You want to know what you get for $609?
More.
For $609, you get a Ryzen 9 6900HX, right? 4.9 gigahertz, and you get external graphics. You get a Radeon 680M, so and 2.5G RAM, dual fan, small form factor. It's a little bit fatter though. This is a little bit of a fat boy. It's more cubish, but here I'll put a link in chat. This is just crazy though. $609 for this, but this one actually has its own GPU, right? This isn't just onboard. This isn't onboard graphics. This is like a legit GPU, and it's still in a small box. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, if you're looking for like a little gaming PC to throw into your media center, these deliver. And if all you care about is like playing like 4K, 4K video and HDR and all that stuff, the APU is fine, right? You don't need an external GPU for that because they got the video encoders right on board.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And what is this Radeon 680M graphics? What is this?
Dude, these are sick. Do they have any of these with Nvidia graphics? I wonder. Let me see here.
I'm sure the Intel ones would.
Because if they have one with Nvidia graphics, that would actually be good. Because then you'd be able to run the CUDA stuff, and that's what the CUDA stuff's what's important to me. Because all the AI stuff, like 90% of the AI projects on the internet, all utilize CUDA, and it's really hard to find stuff that utilizes the other architectures. Like even the open standards, like Vulkan and shit. Like it's just hard to find stuff that utilizes it. I don't know what it was. I think Nvidia just saturated the market with like free support to everybody, and like CUDA was just so turnkey, and the API was so simple. Everybody jumped on it.
They did a lot of work to make the CUDA library easy to use. They put a lot of money into supporting research and stuff that was using CUDA and all that stuff. Intel is trying to do the same with what is it? OpenCL, right? I think is the alternative. But only in the last couple of years. They're with their the Intel's One API is their sort of like that's like their effort to make OpenCL more friendly for machine learning and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because OpenCL, like everybody supports that, right? Like OpenCL is like an open standard anybody can do. Yeah. So here, your audio went up way in volume. Did you change anything on your side, or is it just me?
I am one click. Is that better?
I'm gonna bring you down. Stay where you're at. Keep talking.
Okay. I won't mess with my sliders.
There we go. Talk again.
I'm gonna talk some more. I'm saying things.
Okay, there you go. Now you're good. Now you're not banging up against the wall.
Oh, good.
All right.
Yeah. It looks like so. Going back to that 680M thing.
Yeah.
It's a decent 1080p machine.
Dude, some of these pucks have higher specs than the full size gaming machines they're selling. Right now, I'm looking at a Sky. So check this out. I'm looking at a SkyTech game. Well, you're right. Like heat, right? Heat's going to be a problem for the GPU,
and so you're going to get thermal throttling. You're going to run into things.
Okay, fair enough. Because I'm looking at this Chronos PC that's like lower spec than the Puck PC, twice the money, $869. It has 16 gig of DDR4, which the other Puck I looked at had, and it has a Ryzen 5 3600, which is a lower GPU than what the Puck had. Oh, but it has an Nvidia RTX 3050. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. This one has an Nvidia RTX 3050. That's where that extra money is going to. Because I mean that's still that's one generation old. Because I don't think they've launched the 5 series cards yet, right?
Nvidia,
no. Yeah. Now the 5 series cards, they're supposed to be like insane power draw from what I've been hearing. Like I know it's rumor mill right now, but it's supposed to be insane.
It can't keep going. It can't keep going like this.
Well, where are they going to get the power from? You can't even pull it from a goddamn circuit on the wall anymore. What, do you have to like run a separate power cable to your GPU in the future?
I don't know. They're going to have, like I said, they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, my 4090 at full trot with no overclocking pulls 550 watts. No overclocking. Founders Edition. Nvidia, bone stock firmware, bone stock everything. The only thing that's been done to it is I updated the firmware to support that BIOS feature. What's it called? Above 4G encoding, something bar, resizable bar. There we go. So I flashed the firmware for resizable bar, but I did a test on it and I monitored the wattage and it hit 550 watts. Bone stock, no overclock, just doing CUDA shit.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, 550 watts of my system's power from my power supply is just going to the GPU. It's like, what does the CPU use? Like it's a 13.9 something, 13900K. What is it? What does a 13900K use for power? Do you know, like full trot?
I think the high short burst. Well, you're supposed to keep it short term.
Yeah,
like 251, 250, something like that.
So my GPU is pulling twice as much power as the CPU in the system.
Oh yeah.
That is so insane. So at full trot CPU and GPU, not even counting storage, not counting memory, not counting motherboard, I'm pulling 750 watts, boom, off my power supply. That is insane.
Yeah, the 4090 will like when power on will peak at like 450, I think. If you have 4 of them in a machine, it will trip the breaker because they all spike to like 450 watts or something like that, and it'll trip. Even on a 1800 watt power supply, it'll trip. Yeah.
You gotta go check on something, or are you good?
I'm gonna go peek just to make sure.
Go take a look. Go take a look. So that's nuts to me, man. That is just nuts to me. So now they're saying like a 5090. So think if a 4090 is pulling 550 at full trot, then what does a 5090 look like, right? Because you know the 5090 is gonna have to have like a similar or better performance jump than the previous generation, like the 3090 to the 4090, right? So they're not going to get that on the same power, even if they improve the architecture. It's going to need a lot more. Okay, networking guy said his 14900KS pulls up to 432 watts, and my 450 can do just over 550. Wait, what?
That's insane.
How the hell are you getting a 450 to do 550 watts?
That'd be a peak. There's no way it's sustaining 432 watts.
4090. He mistyped 490. So same as me. He's pulling 550 just like me.
Yeah.
So wait, but his CPU really a 14900K pulls 432 watts?
That's got to be a spike. There's no way it would hold that for.
Is that overclocked, networking guy? That's insane, brother. 14900K KS means unlocked, so I'm guessing that's probably overclocked to the hill, right?
KS is like their half-ass like little bump thing that they did.
Okay, so he must be overclocking because it says here 325 watts. And it says the maximum power draw is 409 watts.
Because like
with the PL2 power limit unlocked.
Yeah, even Intel's ARC says that the max turbo on that is 253. So like that's one you must be over. It's over. It's definitely. I'm looking at the specs. He's definitely overclocked. Held for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's got to be some fiddliness. That's way out of spec.
Yeah. So it's total system power consumption. The Intel Core i9.
That's how you melt your CPUs, guys.
So the top power consumption I can find on the chart is somebody got it to 543 watts, but not sustained.
Yeah.
But still, 543 watts going through a CPU? Yeah. What the shit?
You'd have to have massive cooling and stuff for that.
And it says it can hit 6.2 gigahertz on 2 cores? What?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I remember when 5 gigahertz was unobtainium and everybody said we'd never go any higher?
I thought that was the limit. Yeah, that 5 would be the limit.
Like LN2 was like in the 5s. I remember back when they were doing LN2 cooling to hit like 5.4.
I think I remember seeing somebody did 8 gigahertz on some processor recently.
My God.
With like LN2 or liquid helium or something like that. They had to do some crazy ass cooling for it, but it hit like 8 gigahertz.
Let me look it up here. Right. So 7. Okay, so it says Intel Core i9 Ultra 9 285K processor paired with an Asus ROG Maximus Z890 Apex motherboard with a custom LN2 optimized copper heatsink from Diabatrix. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Archived overclocking world record at 7.448 gigahertz.
Okay.
This was accomplished through a collaboration between Elmer Labs, Benchmark, OGS, and Sens.
Yeah.
That's insane. So yeah, just shy, right?
I've seen guys take like old like Core 2 Duos and like submerge them in dielectric fluid of some type, like you get from 3M or whatever.
Yeah.
And then hyper cool that stuff. Like you're pumping it from like you submerge everything into that, and then you're pumping the dielectric fluid through some pipes that are then in like LN2 or whatever. And I've seen those overclock to like 5 gigahertz from fucking 1995 or 1998. You know, that kind of stuff. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. That's always the trouble. You can push as much power as you want through these things as long as you can keep them cool so they don't explode.
Right, but the biggest problem is like you have the heat spreader. Well, they removed the heat spreader on the LN2 stuff. They just put it right against the die. Yeah. But just the fact that they're able to get the cooling so that it doesn't freeze and crack the traces. Like they have to let it preheat and they use the torch. Yeah, it's crazy. It's not. People think it's like just stick a heatsink on there and start dumping LN2 on it. No, it is like so freaking hard to do this shit. It's an art.
I remember watching a guy years ago was doing testing and stuff with LN2, and he tried. So he like apparently you can actually store liquid nitrogen in just like a cheap styrofoam cooler.
Yep.
And he was doing something like that. He was pumping dielectric. He tried to do the full submerged thing, dielectric fluid. He was pumping it through another cooler that had the LN2 in it and like the copper pipes and stuff. And like the fluid was getting so cold, it was like starting to get thick and it burnt out like a fishing pump or fish tank pump and stuff he was trying to use. And so he was like, well, I'm just going to submerge the whole fucking thing into the LN2. And he's like, I know that I can't just drop it in there. It's going to crack the boards and stuff. So he tried to pre-cool it like in his freezer. And like, obviously that's not going to be enough. It's barely 0 degrees, like Fahrenheit. And so like it ended up cracking the CPU and the motherboards and all this stuff. But like, yeah, if you could drop the stuff slow enough, why not? There's nothing keeping you from doing that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. This shit's like, I watched, so I'll tell you a story. I was at,
this is crazy, man.
do you remember a long time ago, I created that Stormtrooper suit, that 3D printed Stormtrooper suit?
Yeah.
And I went to PAX, the Penny Card Arcade Expo, and I was in a booth. It was, I'm trying to remember the vendor that a vendor invited me and like paid my way to the event and everything to be a media pass to come in and do their thing at their event. And there was one of the things they were doing at this vendor, because it was a PC vendor, is they were doing overclocking, and they had a dude out front with a full LN2 overclocking setup, like doing live demos of overclocking. And I remember I sat over there and watched him for like an hour or two trying to break a record. Like he was trying to break one of his personal records. And I could not believe how much hardware they just scrap to try to hit the record. He had a pile, like literally, like not pile, but trays. He had trays and trays of these CPUs. And he was basically dropping the CPU on the motherboard, putting putty around it or whatever. It's like this putty looking shit around it. And then he'd put his heat, the dielectric heat sink. Or, first he did the D-lid. He'd put in the thing, take the lid off it, stick it on there, pack all the shit around it for condensation, put like paper towels everywhere. Then he'd drop his huge copper tower on the top of it. And then he'd pour like a little liquid nitrogen in it and then hit it with a torch. He had like a MAP gas torch. And he was like hitting it with the torch, pouring a little LN2, hitting it with the torch, posting it, and then pop, the CPU would just die. And he'd just pull off the thing, take the CPU, huck it in the garbage, or hand it out to somebody who was walking by. And I watched him probably kill within an hour 7 chips before he finally got what he wanted, and he got one to break his record. And it still died. The chip still died. It's just he hit his record. The goal was he had to boot it up and get it through a run of a benchmark, like a certain benchmark. And then once you get to the benchmark, you get your number. And then if it dies after that, it might have even been Cinebench, if I remember right. And so it was just crazy watching that. And they do the same thing for the GPUs, right? They turn everything sideways, and they pack all the shit around the GPU and the CPU to protect like the memory modules and stuff from the ultra cooling so it doesn't break shit. But it's just weird to see, because it's like you have to have a torch. They're literally sitting there with like a MAP gas torch to heat up the liquid nitrogen so that it doesn't get too cold too fast, like boiling it off, but still cold enough that it's pulling enough heat away. And then as they put a load on the CPU and they're slowly bringing up the cooling as the heat's coming up to keep that core within a zone so it doesn't pop. And it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's fucking pure magic. If you ever get a chance to see like one of those things in person where they got like their big, they got a huge thing of liquid nitrogen, what do they call them, a doer or whatever, of liquid nitrogen next to them, and they're just sitting there like, ladling it out and putting it into a thermos, and then taking the thermos and dumping it in the tower. And the dude that I was watching, he had like 2 dudes helping him. Like he'd have a guy like handing him the torch, and then the other guy would be like doing a thing, the other guy would be pouring the LN2 and getting more LN2. And it was like this whole like ballet that went on trying to overclock this damn thing. And then there was another demonstration they did the next day, which was how to bend glass pipe for water cooling loops.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had like the little torch there, where you heat up the glass or whatever, and you put like a little rubber silicone thing in the pipe when you bend it so it doesn't crease or crunch. And so everybody kept making crack pipes, so they had to shut it down. Because everybody was going up to the table and like blowing bubbles in the pipe or whatever and sealing off the end and effectively making like a crack pipe. And so they were like, we can't have that happen anymore. So like the event coordinator came over and put a stop to that, and they had to shut it down. But it was pretty funny. I was like, dude, you know that's gonna happen. You give anybody in Seattle a bunch of free glass piping and a torch to and a demo on how to blow shit into it, they're gonna make crack pipes, man. Crack pipes gonna get made. So that was pretty funny. Was it Critical Real Time Theme? And they were in Blue Man Group. Wait, who?
I don't know.
Still get comfortable. Wait, hold on here. Still get comfortable fused when hear litter computer.
James was asking about why people describe computers in terms of liters, and it's a measure of volume, right? It's how much space the case is going to take up.
Yeah, like if they crushed it into dust and put it into a volume, right?
No. It describes the physical volume, like when you describe an engine in cc's, right? That's the displacement.
Right. Like if you dumped water into that void, that's how the volume of water that would fit in it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they do cylinders. Cylinders on a vehicle is like you put the cylinder at the lowest point, you fill the cylinder all the way to the top with water, you dump it out, and then that is the capacity of that cylinder.
Yeah. Essentially, it's a measure of volume, right? Yeah, it's how big the case is.
So if your computer is a liter, like that means it has to occupy a liter of space, but you'd have to bend it. It's obviously not going to fit within a liter in its current form. You'd have to you could make the box any size you want, right? So are you saying that dimensions would be a liter?
No. So like most ITX cases are going to be less than about 13 liters, and that's a measure of volume, right? Like how much physical space it takes up.
Right. So a liter is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by volume.
Yeah.
And then
it doesn't matter how you stretch that cube.
Correct.
Right? You can make it 15 centimeters, and then you're going to have to drop the height by 5, right? And make it.
Well, here, let's look at the dimensions of one of these bad boys. Let me open this up.
The case I'm using right now is it's a Sliger SM580, I think.
Yep.
If I remember right. And it's probably, just by looking at it, 11 liters.
Here, what is the liter displacement of 6.34 by 6.06 by 4.12 inches? I just grabbed one of the computers that was on there. And it says, okay, including results, liter displacement. Hold on, it's doing its little calculations right now. Beep, boop, 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 beep.
A foot depends on the feet.
Okay,
no, they have specific descriptions for these measures.
So it says the total displacement given for these dimensions would be approximately 2.65 liters. So to calculate the volume in liters for the given dimensions, you need to first find the volume in cubic inches and then convert it to liters. And it says for that, you take the volume, which in this case is 6.34 inches by 6.06 inches by 4.21 inches. And then that volume would be 161.68 inches cubed. Mm-hmm. Then you convert cubic inches to liters. So 1 cubic inch is 0.016 liters. And then
the measure from one of these mini PCs.
Yeah. I'm taking one of the mini PCs and I'm trying to see what the volume is.
This thing can't be more than 2 liters tops.
So let me try to find one of the smaller ones.
That's a good way to visualize it. That's what I
figured. I figured that'd be a good way to do it.
Bottle, right? A 2 liter bottle of soda. That's a funny shape, but that gives you an idea about a cylinder shape.
I put a link at the one I measured just so you can get an idea of the size of the one that I got the dimensions of. I use the volume math. So that should work. And there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it by volume or you can do it by weight too.
Yeah, that's weird though, because cases are empty, right?
Right. You can't. You have to go by volume. So
it has to be the physical measure, the outside dimensions of the case.
So I'm curious if which.
So I can see where that's about 2 liters.
I wonder if a NUC. Let me look at the small NUCs because I wonder if those are exactly a liter. Let's see here. Intel. The
extreme ones are going to be probably closer to 5.
Yeah, I'm thinking the OGs, those little itty bitty cube ones,
the puck ones.
Yeah.
The Intel 5 NUCs or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here I found one.
Yep. A liter and a half, maybe.
So let me see. So oh god, these are tiny.
It's tiny.
Whoa.
It's tiny. It's 5 inches square by about 3 or 4 high.
I found one that's 2.83 by 1.75 inches.
That's a half a liter.
Dude, that's that's tiny.
Micro ATX is still about 3. The smallest, legit, the tiniest micro ATX case that I suppose if you didn't include a discrete graphics card, would probably be about 3 liters or a little less, maybe.
It is pretty insane how small these things are, though. It's impressively small.
Yeah.
Let's see dimensions. Oh, this one's bigger, so 8.35. So that one's gonna be 2 or 3 liters. But yeah, I can see why they'd call them a liter PC, right? Because there's obviously one that probably when they measured it when this all started was right around a liter. But it looks like now they've kind of like, it doesn't look like the form factor is like completely solidified. They all seem like they're a little bit wider, a little bit longer. Like each vendor kind of went with like a slightly different size, but they all look similar in their form factor, right?
They use like DTX.
Oh,
boards,
I found one that might work.
Even smaller than.
Let me try this.
ITX.
Let me try this one. It's 4.6 by 4.4. So let me put that one in and see what we get. This 4.6 by 4.4.1.9. So, and this one actually looks like one of the older ones. So I'm wondering if this comes in at a liter. 0.63 liters. So this one, that's a half a liter. So you can even go double that size of this one right here. Let me get a link to this one. So these things are really small. Like that's a lot smaller than I even thought. Like, and this one, get this one. It has HDMI. It has 2 USB A's. It's got 1 USB C, RJ45. Oh, sorry, 2 HDMI outs. So this one you can do 2 screens right off the bat. 2 HDMIs, and it's got 2 USB Cs, 2 USB A's, RJ45, and power in. And it's got an SD card slot on the side of it. I mean, it looks like it's made by a brand I've never heard of, Geekom. But and it's got Wi-Fi 6E. I mean, it's an expensive one though. This is $800. Why is this $800? What the hell does this have in it? Ryzen 9 8945. Is that up there? Is that a pretty high-end CPU?
We'll say again.
The Ryzen 9 8945 HS. Is that like a pretty good CPU?
Good.
Okay, and it looks like it has.
That'd be, if I remember right, that'd be the 7th gen mobile processor.
Okay. Oh, and it has an AMD 780 mobile. It has a discrete graphics GPU. Nice. So $800 for that. But man, this is pretty damn small. These things are so small. It's almost like you just put double stick tape on it and slap it on the back of the screen, and you basically have an all-in-one, right?
A lot of times they'll have VESA mounts for them.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Max screen resolution 8K. Nobody's gonna be running 8K on that GPU. Come on, let's be realistic, guys.
Well, not in video games, but you could do if you had a big enough monitor or something. Sure, why not?
Dude, they've got some insane deals right now. Like, I don't know if it's Christmas. Like, it's a 24% off right now on an M7 Pro AMD Ryzen 9 6950. It's got dual NICs in it, 2.5G, Windows 11 Pro standard, 32 gigabytes DDR5 RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive. Or SSD, sorry, dual USB 4, 2 HDMI 2.1s, and USB-C. So this thing has dual HDMI, dual NICs, so you could use this for like PFSense as your router if you wanted to. It looks like it's got a cool cooling system in it. Right now, it's $499 for that. And it has a Ryzen 9 Pro. What graphics does it have, though? I'm guessing this has onboard graphics for the money. Let me see here. And then there's a 1 terabyte version for... seriously, $10 less, same CPU or same specs, 1 terabyte less storage for $483 or $499 with 2 terabytes of storage. Would you pay $10 more for another terabyte of storage?
Yeah,
and SSD, I wouldn't in a second.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is crazy. Is anybody in here on one of these like little leader PCs? I'm curious if anybody watching right now is like rocking one of these, like actually watching on it. Because I wonder how popular these really are, because they do seem quite capable. I mean, these almost look like a high-end laptop scaled down to plug into a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, right? So super portable too. Like, it'd be super easy to grab one of these and just huck it in your get one of those you know, those cheap 15-inch screens you can get that just plug into USB-C. They're like Thunderbolt screens. Get yourself one of those screens that's like Thunderbolt powered, so you get the data and the power over the same wire. I found them as cheap as $50 for these little 15-inch like 1080p screens. Grab one of those, grab yourself, you know, a keyboard and a mouse, and throw it in a backpack, and you basically have like a laptop, but it's like a desktop that you can spread out in your, you know, wherever you're at. Just bust it out in Starbucks, and it looks like you have a whole like gaming PC set up. Let's hear. TrueTech said N100s are cheap. Yes, load it up. Impulse shopping rules. Dude, buy everything you need now. Like, no joke. Buy everything. We've said this every stream now. We're going to repeat it again. Buy all the electronics that you possibly can need, at least for the next 6 months before the end of January. Because when the trade war starts, all this shit's going to go through the roof. It's going to literally be the most expensive electronics has ever been in the United States. So make damn sure that if you've got your eyeball on something, you've got the means to get it. Like, get it now. Like, the cheapest price you're going to find, too, is probably going to be between... Christmas and New Year's, because right after Christmas, that's when everybody does the liquidation to get rid of the shit they have, and then they're going to put in their orders for the next shipment of stuff that's going to come in. And if that next shipment doesn't clear before the trade war goes into effect, well, then all the pricing is going to get shifted around, and shit's going to hit the fan. So yeah, like get what you need. Figure it. Sit down. Write yourself a list if you don't have one already. Say, like, this is the shit that I've really wanted. Here's the stuff that's more important than the other stuff. This is what I can afford. Go grab that shit, and then when it all skyrockets and goes to double, triple the price or whatever, then sell it to your neighbors if you need some extra money. But it's gonna go up. Everything's gonna go up. Let's see here. Digibrat said, let's see here. Nerdgasm, they even come with a pre-installed version of Windows 11. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, is it comes with a Windows 11 license too. Like I'm guessing, hopefully genuine. Who knows though? These are all like little Chinese computers. But what does a Windows 11 license cost today if you buy it legitimately? Like, what does a non-shady Windows 11 Pro license go for?
Like 120, I think.
Yeah, right. How about Home? What is the cheapest one? Like Home?
Around 100, I think. Or about the same.
So if you're not doing the thing like, most of us are, and just using the scripts on GitHub to register all your shit.
Hey, no, it's completely legit. I have a fully documented upgrade path from XP Pro.
Yep.
Mine is 100% illegitimate.
That actually is true. That is true. You can.
How I acquired that XP Pro license key, but it is a legitimate key purchased and paid for by somebody. And I have upgraded from XP Pro to 7, from 7 to 10, from 10 to, well, I could upgrade to 11 if I wanted. And they're complaining at me that I should.
Yeah, there is an actual upgrade path on YouTube. There's a video of a guy going all the way from XPR all the way up to Windows 11. There's another guy who shows you how to skip a bunch. Did you do the skipping method, or did you go through each one?
I did the upgrade installation from XP to 7, but then at some point I did a full fresh install of 7.
Okay, so you did skip. Okay.
Yeah, I never did 8. I've seen videos where a guy went from like old OG Windows 1 and then like used upgrade disks to 3.1, from 3.1 to 95, and then from 95 to and just upgrade disks all the way to, I think, to XP.
Yeah, there's a guy. There's a video I watched on YouTube of a guy who starts at XP, and he goes from XP to was it Windows 2003 Server or something like that? No. I think he went from XP to Vista, then Vista to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 10, and then 10 to 11, and he does all of them. But there's a shortcut that he shows in the video where you can actually just go from your XP, your key, and you can directly input that into Vista. And then from Vista, you can skip 7 and skip 8 and go all the way to 10. And then from 10, upgrade in place to 11. So you can like do 2 skips, so you don't have to like go through each OS and do the upgrade. Like you can actually put in the code and it'll accept it, which is pretty cool. And and there's another one that I watched where a guy said that you can actually use a Windows XP code to install Windows 11 directly. And he shows you have to run a script or do some kind of script that like converts it. Like it takes your Windows XP code. I think there's a script on GitHub or something that does this. Let me see if I can find this. It's like upgrade from Windows XP to Windows 11 directly. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah, using Windows XP to Windows 11 directly without losing any of your software. So let's see. How does this dude do this? Let's see here. So restart. Okay, I want to upgrade to Windows 11 without losing software. He boots into the Windows 11 installer. He clicks on I do not have a product key. So he clicks on does not have a product key. He does the upgrade. Okay, Windows 11's on. Let's see, goes the Windows.old. Oh, tricky. Okay, so what it looks like he's doing... It looks like he's copying the registration file from Windows XP, and he copies it to a place in Windows 11 and then reboots the computer, and then it's activated. So it's almost like whatever the activation key the file it creates, it still looks for the same key today, and it's like, oh, you're good, bro.
Wow. All right.
I don't know if this is like a joke. Like, I don't know. This is back in July 20th, 2021.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this could be this. He could be like pulling a crank here. But let me open up this. I'll put the link if anybody else wants to go and watch it. But it says, okay, so title, Windows XP, starting the update, Windows 11, restoring the software and files, checking the final effects, testing the software and summary. So, maybe he's showing how to upgrade to Windows 11, but he's not doing the product key. He might be just stealing it. Let's see here. Very awesome video. How do you change from VMware BIOS splash screen? I lolled at the title. Most XP machines are using ancient hardware. Yeah, I mean, it'd be pretty funny to find a machine that ran XP that could run Windows 11 today. Like, XP would run on anything. Actually, do you remember back like when XP first came out, like how bad it was? Like, I don't think a lot of people remember how.
I never really had much of an issue with
dude,
XP.
it was fucking horrible.
Huh.
Horrible when it first came out. Like, oh my God, before it got the first patch, holy shit. Because I remember I joined Windows the week before they shipped it.
Wow.
So I actually went to the ship party for Windows XP. And I remember it just being so fucking buggy, like blue screen after blue screen after blue screen, at least on my hardware. It was really bad. And then after the update, it was actually amazing. And now we look back on those days and it's like, I used to think XP was absolute dog shit. And now I look back on it with fond eyes. You know, it's like, that was back when everything was still raw, right? It was just direct code running on the computer that was completely zero dependency on the internet, zero dependency on any networking shit. You could just run your computer standalone, everything. The games, you installed a game and you played it, and you didn't have to connect to fucking servers. You didn't have to run anti-cheat. If you wanted to play somebody a multiplayer game on the internet, you hosted a server in the game and people joined it by IP address. Remember that shit? Mm-hmm. Like I miss those days. I genuinely do. I totally get the whole nostalgia boner that like old people get, you know? It's like where they like think back and it's like, oh man, going back to the days, it's like, oh, we got it so much better today. And it's like, oh, back in our days, we used to do this. I totally get that same nostalgia where it's like, I'll open up a Nintendo emulator and fire up like, some old ass Mario Brothers, level 10.
I would love like a remastered version of Pokemon Red and Blue. Like not remake it, just like a little bit better graphics,
right?
You know, like right. I would play the crap out of that. Sometimes I still every once in a while I'll get like a Game Boy emulator and I'll put it on my phone and I'll play Pokemon, just OG red and blue. Like, I'll
tell you what, if you ever want to follow through with that experience, I'll tell you exactly how you do it, because this is Nintendo, right? So this is Nintendo NES.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. Okay, so for Game Boy, what you do is you go get yourself a Game Boy emulator on Windows, right? Yeah. Fire up a Game Boy emulator, and then you want to go download, or you got to buy it. I think it's like $9. It's called Lossless Scaler.
Oh, sure.
On Steam. It's fucking awesome. I use it for everything. I use it for videos. I use it for games. It's no latency, like zero latency. Somehow they managed to make this thing to have no latency, not even one frame of latency. What it does is it upscales the graphics using an AI upscaling algorithm, and it frame doubles or quadruples.
Oh, that'd be the way.
Without that crazy lag. So like I can open up Mario Brothers. I can make it look like use an AI scaler that makes Mario and everything look perfectly rounded, no jaggy edges, super sharp, bright graphics. And it's running at like 120 to 240 frames per second, 1080p. And it's just smooth as butter. It's like you can't even remember it. Like blows your mind seeing it run that smooth.
I'm gonna try Temtem on the PlayStation. I saw it's part of this month's like free to keep games. It's called Temtem.
Is that on PlayStation or Windows?
PlayStation. I think it is on Steam too. I think.
Oh, it is? Okay, it's called Temtem.
It was free. It was free on the PlayStation, so I snatched it. And it's like Pal World, but without the building and shit. Oh. And it's multiplayer and stuff. So
did Pal World just die? Because everyody talked about it, and I haven't heard anything about it. Like
people aren't, dude. That's the fucking 24 hours news cycle, right? It's not, and no, there hasn't been any movement on the lawsuit stuff, so nobody really cares. But it's still, people are still playing it and stuff.
It's just so weird because, man, everybody was talking about like nonstop, and it just disappeared. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of like the Apple goggles, like what Apple Vision Pro or whatever. Where the fuck did that go?
That was so cheese.
I haven't seen any videos, not a single video on it, dude.
They just a bunch of people bought them for reviews and then returned them.
Just returned them.
It was, dude. It's $30. It was like $3,000 or something.
It's like $3,500 or something.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Of course, Apple's going to charge literally an arm and a leg for freaking. Dude,
apparently they all broke
Quest
too.
3s. I go buy 10 Quest 3s for that much money, and then me and all of my friends could fucking be in VR.
Bro, ridiculous. Apparently they all broke too.
I bet.
Like all the glass, the glass cover on the front of it, like it gets fractured and shatters like a spider cracks. Like even when people kept it in the case and took care of it like meticulously,
dude,
it would break this piece of glass. And they said they couldn't fix it. It was like $1,000 to fix this glass front or whatever if it cracked.
Just dumb. And that's where most of the cost came. Was putting that stupid fucking screen in the front of it. Nobody cares. Nobody's trying to see your weird ghostly eyeballs through your VR helmet, you nerd. And I use that in a derogatory sense as much as I use that in a positive sense. But like that, dude, when I was at PAX, I was at PAX when they were a little bit after they had come out, and I saw like three different people walking around town with them on, like out in public. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like that part's not so weird because like I might do that too, right? If it didn't look so freaking weird, seeing those weird ghostly eyeballs, like it's not even like a clear picture. Like it's got like a weird vignette kind of thing, so it looks like this. You know, there's like a weird shadow all around the eyes and stuff. It just is weird, and I don't know why.
Did you? So you try? You did get to try it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't tried it? Okay,
nah, not the Apple one. No,
I have not tried it yet either. And everybody I talk to, they always say, "Oh my God, thank you, Martin." Oh, dude, bro. Hey, Martin, we appreciate you so much, brother. Seriously, another $63.07. Martin, you're the man. And PK Beast, you're the man. You know what I noticed, though? One is 63.07, and then the one from PK Beast earlier was 63.09. Were they both in pounds?
Yeah.
Did the exchange rate change literally by 2 cents?
No. Martin's is 49.99 pounds.
Oh, got it. So he did do a cent different. Okay. Because I was like, dude, how weird would that have been if the exchange rate literally changed in like real time?
Yeah, right.
Dude, that would have been crazy. All right, I gotta hook Martin up with his 8 equals D dash 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 dash. That's why I was telling you earlier that my keyboard dash wasn't working anymore, because I was like, I need my dash to make the little dong. You can't make the little dong. You know me. I gotta do everything like really stupidly. I'm trying to find my NES emulator. Do you do any emulation stuff?
A little sometimes.
Oh, that reminds me. That's what I wanted to talk about. Did you see that fucking pirate hard drive thing on Amazon that's been selling for like 2 years and they're still selling it?
Yes.
Oh, brother, what was it called? God, I gotta remember the name of it. Let's see. It was like 20 terabyte. Let's see here. Emulator game. Let me see if I can find this thing. It's like when I saw this, I was like, no, there's no way it's still being sold. Somebody had to have banned it by now. Nope, there is a hard drive you can buy right now. By the way, you better scan the motherfucker if you buy it. Okay, I found it. It's the Hyperbase Mix Retro Gaming HD. It's got 80 plus emulator. Oh, this is the 4 terabyte. No, where's the 20 terabyte one? There's one that's 20. It's got a 20 terabyte hard drive in it. 12 terabyte, not 20 terabyte. Okay, I found it. This is the one right here. I can tell because it's got a bunch of people poo-pooed it and gave it low stars, but it like sells out all the time. Like there's only a couple left in stock because whenever it comes up, people buy it, but it's been listed for years. Everybody reports it and nobody will take it down. Check this shit out. There's a million YouTube videos on this thing too. And what blew my mind is, it's funny, this seller even gets an A review under FakeSpot to use the FakeSpot plugin. So basically they're a very reputable dealer apparently with great support, like as my FakeSpot guard tells me. But check this out. It has it's called the Kin Hank, and apparently this brand's been around forever. 12 terabyte retro game hard drive with 9,600 games, retro game consoles compatible with 400 plus emulators, portable game hard disk compatible with Windows 7, 8, 10, and 11. And apparently, by the way, if you ever plug this in, do not plug it into a computer you care about. Plug it into a fucking old laptop and run a virus scan, because apparently there's malware on this thing like motherfucker too.
Yeah, dude.
That's why how has it not been taken down? Like people have reported it. I reported it like 2 weeks ago and it's still here. So there's a video on YouTube, multiple of them, in fact, of people that paid cash for this thing, like literally bought it because they wanted to review it and see what kind of train wreck it is. And everybody's shocked because you know what games are on this thing? Not just emulated games. Right? Every Nintendo game ever made, all the way up through like GameCube and Nintendo Switch. It has every Nintendo Switch game. It has Cyberpunk 2077. It has, and they're like hacked versions that don't do the DRM to the servers. So like you open up the game and it says, oh, I can't connect the server even though it has network access, but it lets you play it with that. So they're all hacked games, but you get Cyberpunk, you get, what was another game? GTA 5 was on it and worked, which is crazy because that thing authenticates against Rockstar like a motherfucker, right? And but that's what blew my mind is it wasn't just and arcade games. It has all the Nintendo and Neo Geo arcade games, like the legit, like even up to date arcade games, like the Mario Kart DX, actually running in an emulator on a PC using full hardware acceleration. Like it thinks it's the arcade cabinet.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, okay, so you buy this hard drive, $258 isn't that much for a 12 terabyte hard drive. But to get a 12 terabyte hard drive that has all this shit on it, like I just want the package. I want somebody to buy this drive and upload the entire contents to Internet Archive so I can download it, because I just want to like scan it, of course, for viruses and remove all that shit. But like if you threw this hard drive and like paired it with a decently powerful PC and GPU and put it into like a arcade cabinet, this would be the ultimate MAME machine.
Oh man. I gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, no worries, bro. You go ahead and get out of here. Say your bits.
Bye, everybody. I'm AuxxZillary everywhere. Thanks for hanging out, and happy holidays, whatever flavor of holiday you decide to celebrate in the winter season. I love you, awesome nerds. You're my favorite guys.
Oh, you're such a
nerdy
sweetheart.
nerds. And I hope you all have yourselves a good time. And I think we'll see you guys in the new year.
Awesome. Yep. So you go ahead and get out of here. I'll say a couple more things, and then I'll do my thing.
One more before the new year, but
we will.
But still,
we will.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Peace out. Enjoy your weekend, man. Later. Oh shit! I didn't fix my single person thing. Oh, I'll just scoot over here. There we go. Problem solved. I'll just be in my own way. You guys won't mind that. I'll just occupy both spaces. Here, let me zoom out. There we go. Well, here. This is not ideal. There is that. Does that work? I'm like, it feels weird being way over here on my desk, but whatever. It'll be fine for now. Let me catch up and get my windows here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. He said, did you have an Amazon wish list for the little brat this year? We didn't set one up, actually. We felt this year it's been a really, really bad year. As a matter of fact, of all the years that we should have set one up, it was this year, but I was just feeling too bad. I was feeling too bad. We just talked to the little one and explained to him that we're just having a financial issue right now, but everything's fine. And he's like, I don't need much. He's like, I'll be happy just like a couple Robux, some games, maybe like just like a little, one or two little things. Like he doesn't, we don't even have a Christmas tree set up right now. So a little bit of a rough year, but he's super understanding. So that's taken a huge amount of stress off me. But yeah, we didn't create a list for him. But I don't know if people want us to put up a list, because I know a lot of people like seeing the smiles on his face, and he really does get a kick out of it. I could put up a list a little early, and a little late, and if stuff shows up late, so be it. But he definitely would love that. He sure would. It's one of those things where it's been such a bad year for me and everything, and I haven't been streaming a lot and everything, that I just don't think that I deserve anything. And by you guys helping him out, you're actually helping me out, which I don't think I deserve it. It's a weird self-deprecating thing right now. Hey, Emmy, thank you for the subscribe. I really appreciate that. But it's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not in a good place right now. But if you guys do want to, that's better. If you guys do want to do something like that or help out, I'll have Miss Barnacules throw a list together, because there's a lot of little things I'm sure he would love. I definitely will, Digi. If I put one up, I'll definitely let you know. Maybe it's not too late after all. I'll talk to Miss Barnacules. Send me an email of my EROM drive. Oh wait, Bradley, do you have that drive, or like a similar thing to it, like with all the emulation stuff on it? Because God, I'd love to have like all the emulation stuff in one place. That's why I look at that emulator and I'm like, that'd be really cool. But the reason I wouldn't buy it is, one, it's got a bunch of malware and shit on it, and I don't trust it. And the other reason is that it, mainly I want old stuff. I don't want modern new games, right? Like, I'm not looking to pirate shit that's taking money away from people. I'm looking to play like games that I've owned from my childhood, and a lot of older games. But emulators, man, that is an avenue to a world of fun. Like, if you have not done any emulator stuff, it's fantastic. Actually, you know what? This is annoying as fuck. I'm gonna go back to this. We can just look at we can look at Prison AuxxZillary over there. God. I mean, I'm glad I got through the stream, but I've been in rough shape. You guys can probably tell I'm not looking too hot. Hey Nathan, are you still there, bro? In chat, did your buddy cross his 500K threshold yet? Because I told him that he could shout out his buddy on here who's about to hit 500K, another YouTuber who's been killing it. So, and he wanted to give him a little shout out on here. But he wanted to wait until he hit 500K. So, and I guess he was like really close. Dude apparently pulls a lot of people too. Like, he gets like 2,000 plus people during his live streams. Let's see here. I just wanted to make sure that he got that in, because he's helped me out a lot. Nathan has helped me out a lot. So, I hope you guys are having good holidays. I really do. I hope the majority of you are. I know a lot of you guys also struggle like me with the holiday stuff. And, it tends to pile on really quick, because like right after the holidays and everything, then boom, you're right back into doing taxes again. And then taxes for me is a nightmare because it's like we have no revenue coming in hardly, and then we borrow against the 401k, but we have to pay taxes on the 401k plus a 10% penalty borrowing against it early. And that shit's just gonna fucking eat me alive. Let's see here. He said, okay, he said, I'm here. You can buy drives with Windows 11 pre-installed. That was 5 minutes ago. He's probably checking to see. You don't trust it being 12 terabytes for that price? Yeah, that's the thing I didn't get is how can you sell a 12 terabyte drive? Like what is it, a WD Green or something? Like I know they don't make those anymore. But like what spinning disk can you buy 12 terabytes for $258 right now? The only thing I can think of is that it's a recertified drive. Because I know you can get recertified drives for about half price. So my guess is recertified drives. Okay, he said, I'm here, not at 500K yet. Did you just want to come in and shout him off anyways, even though he's not at 500K before I wrap things up? Because I know you and him have been getting really tight and you've been helping him with a lot of stuff and everything, and you want to see him go to the moon. So I want to make sure you get that opportunity to shout him out everywhere you can. Even if it's just 186 people. Just let me know. If you want to do it, go ahead and unmute yourself. Otherwise, I'll start wrapping up. Because I'm feeling pretty weird right now. So I gotta go and take care of that. I don't really want to have an event on stream, if you catch my drift. I have you muted? It doesn't say I have you muted. Hold on. Oh, no, it's because I don't have your link brought into the stream. Hold on, I can fix that. Stand by. Unmute. Okay, say something.
Hello. Am I here now?
Yep, you're here.
All right, hello everybody. This is the Flying Spaghetti Monster telling you that piracy is not okay unless it's for cool shit.
All right, you want to give your bro a shout out?
Well, actually, we just started up a stage event. His name on YouTube is Chris Bowden. I know all of you nerdy people will absolutely love this. I'm going to be a member of the stage. Come hang out with us because we're about to cross that 500,000 mark.
Do you want to drop a link to his channel in chat?
Ooh, actually, yeah, that is a very good idea.
That way they'll know who you're talking about and who to go sub to and who to go watch.
Oh, and by the way, everybody, don't think that I'm going to a bigger and more famous YouTuber for Jerry, because Jerry's coming up with us.
Well, that's going to be dependent on my health for sure, but hopefully. And my mental state. But I appreciate it. Hey, Michael, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it, dude. He said, definitely set up a list for Xander for us to contribute. You deserve it. I don't believe I do, but I know my son does. He absolutely does. So I will. I'll talk to Miss Barnacules and we'll get a link set up and send it out. I mean, we get trashed on for it every year that we do it, but you know what? The people that enjoy it, they really love it. Xander really loves it. So I look at that and the smile on his face, and I think it's win-win for everybody. The haters can, eat shit. I need to get back to thinking that way too. So YouTube / Psychics Duck. Is that what it is? Psychic? Is it Psychics Duck? Here, let me click on that.
Physics Duck.
Physics? So Physics Duck. God damn it, man. My brain is you can see what I'm fighting with here. Yeah, and I'm already subscribed to him. So yeah, he makes some good videos. He's been around for a long time. I watched his really old videos that were of a more non-technical nature when he was like playing around with the hydroelectric plant and stuff. That's why I was surprised to see that you were like doing stuff with him and that he's doing like the technology stuff now, but he's killing it.
Fun fact, I have pictures of that hydroelectric dam from years before I met him.
Oh, like in person you saw it?
Yeah, one of my Xbox friends lives 3 minutes away from that dam.
Oh, that's pretty badass. Small world, right?
All right, well, buddy, I'm going to hop off of here. I've been holding it for a while to make sure everything goes smoothly, so I hope you have a good rest of your stream and a good rest of your day.
I appreciate it, man. Take it easy and have a good weekend. Tell Chris I said hi.
To all the YouTube chat, remember, the Flying Spaghetti Monster is okay with piracy for some things.
Yeah, hey, honestly, I wouldn't have worked at Microsoft if it wasn't for piracy. Like, no shit.
Dude, in my opinion, if it's like the Xbox 360 or older, pirate it. If it does not have online services anymore, pirate it.
I'm of the mind now, if it's so DRM heavy that you can't play the goddamn thing when you pay money for it, just pirate it. Like honestly, I am done with that shit where you pay money and it's a harder experience for you than the people that just download it for free. That's not okay.
So one of the most pirated games in history is Grand Theft Auto 5, And when they incorporated the Battle Eye anti-cheat, it got pirated even more.
Oh, that's insane.
Dude, it is insane. Ooh, no donation.
Ooh, thank you so much, Ian Scott Johnston. Woo! I'll make sure Xander gets that too, brother. I absolutely will. Or it's his portion. I'll give him $5. 5 goes to Ox. Even though Ox checks out at 2 p.m., the deal is we always split everything on this stream. Because I really do appreciate him riding shotgun. All right, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there too. I didn't even sleep an hour and a half last night, so that's not making things any better. But I'm going to try to get a little bit of a nap in and get up and come up here and try to start working away at this nerd cave, because man, it is trashed in here. I can't even hardly walk up the stairs or get through the door in this place. It's so bad. It's weird when life doesn't go good. I tend to hoard, like when I'm afraid of losing everything, I tend to hoard, and then I end up, like, when I get hurt, I pull shit out really quick because I got to get something done really quick, and then I don't have the energy to put it back. Shit just goes downhill. Yeah, I'll get some rest. All right, Nathan, go ahead and take off, man. I'll catch you soon, brother. Let's see here. Have an awesome Xmas. Chin up in 2025 will be better, I'm sure of it. I sure hope so, man. I can't handle much worse. Like, the doctors pretty much told me in a nutshell, and I'll just leave it here, they can't fix me. They said I'm broken in a way that they can't fix me, and the DEA won't allow them to give me the medication anymore that makes my life tolerable, so I just have to learn to live with what I can. And so that's just how it is, man. It'll get worse too. They did tell me that, you know, moving forward, it will get worse, and people will have less and less access to pain management when they can't be fixed, and you just got to learn to deal with it. So, but I got good people around me. I'm surrounded by you guys. I'm surrounded by my family, and so for the moment, I'm okay, and I'll keep being okay, because that's what I got to do. Got to keep my chin up. Do a live stream of the Nerd Cave being fixed up. It's really hard for me to do that because I have no idea, like, what's out in the open. There's literally paper laying around with passwords on it and protected information and stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know what's in play because it's gotten so bad. So there's no way that I can just live that on camera. But once I get it to a point where it's like, I know that everything in field of the camera is like okay to be seen on camera, and I don't have to consciously keep thinking about it. Then that's a good idea. I will do something like that. I definitely need to get the screen the screen capture stuff working again, because you guys really need to see that. We need to do some coding and some gaming and some farting around. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I am Scott Johnston. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Oh, Joe Taji, thank you so much, dude. Woo! Said thanks for a great stream. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, a happy holiday, and a Merry Christmas. Love you, buddy. Sending hugs to the family. I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much for your support over the years, man. It means the absolute world to me and my family, and honestly, I hope that one day I get to a point where I can deserve it once again. All right, guys, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. All right, you guys have a safe and happy Christmas, and I'll see you on the other side. Later.